Hello and welcome everyone to episode 45 of the smobcast. So this has been like a crazy week. I would argue that it's been one of the craziest weeks in FGO history, at least in the last couple of years, I'd say. So we got tons to talk about. So we're gonna go back through talking about Eresh because we had like a brief first impression thing last week, but since then we've had some people develop some experiences with her. Not so much me, but they got stuff to say. But we're also going to go over the developer responses we received because we got two separate ones, which vastly increased the quality of this anniversary. And then we also got 14 buffs, which is most of them are pretty great. So we got a lot to talk about.
Baffling.
Some baffling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I'm glad you agree, Plushie.
We are the
I-
yes men.
And okay.
Okay. So first off, like, we all know how Anniversary went down. Everyone's heard about it. Like, they gave us 2 pins, they didn't give us a way to get coins for them. So everyone, like, if you wanted to completely max out your servant, you had to go all the way up to NP 8 or 9, and if you only went to 8, you'd have to go to Bond 15. That is pretty dog shit.
Was terrible. Like that. Like the dread that thought induced into the player base, was pretty pretty severe. I think. I
mean-
think that was like one of the worst things they could have done.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, it's just unanimously bad as well, because, like, no matter if it's for whales, because, like, for whales, even if you can't afford MP8, when is the banner gonna get a rerun? You know, like, it's just so much, like, and like, obviously for free to plays, it just makes the game like even more like expensive, quote unquote, because at that time you couldn't. They didn't say you could switch appends or whatnot. So like, oh, I just wasted my coins on like fucking 20% extra damage against Moon Cancer. Nice job. So
Yeah.
it's a bad feeling overall, you know. But yeah.
But the outcry was so bad that within 24 hours, they brought out an apology, and this is what it's about. So basically, Yoshiki Kano he sent out an email to all of us saying like, we sincerely apologize. We've decided to take the following measures going forward. We'll add a feature that allows you to switch an unlocked append to unlock another append skill, which I think is like, just like, even if that was the only thing they were adding, I think that would still be pretty incredible, because that means like you don't have to, because like there's a lot of servants, like even at maximum investment, like you only get a couple of pins worth of stuff out of each fight, like Summer Ibuki, for example. Like I never have any situations where I get all of her pens useful, like use out of all of her pens at once, and I can just
You
like
don't want her crit resist. What if she gets crit
by an
Yeah,
alter
true.
ego. Yeah.
by an alter ego?
True.
Yeah.
What if you're fighting an alter ego and she gets crit? Or what
I
if
guess-
I'm taking my alter ego melt against a lancer for some reason, like a psychopath?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, dude.
It's so dumb.
That's like one thing I feel like people were a little too crazy about, like after this, because like I don't blame people for being angry, because if you still want to completely max everything, like completionist stuff, you still have to like go all the way up there. But that's not the only thing that they said. So yeah, you'll be able to unlock other pins while retaining the unlock level. So it's basically, by the sounds of things, you just switch the append from 1 to 4 or 5 or whatever. If you do, the append skill you want to switch is not unlocked, so it just switches off of it, so you can't just unlock all of the appends.
Yeah.
Another
let me-
thing. Sorry?
Before we continue, I do want to mention someone, Salt in the chat was like, you know, they added it within a day it was ready from the onset. They have not added this yet. This is in fact, everything that they've described here is something that is not ready yet. It's what they are intending to do. So I want to preface every change here that they state is not in the game yet. It is
Yeah.
literally just saying their intention to do it. So this was not planned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they said it can take up to months. It depends on their own schedule or whatever. So they'll probably let us know a couple days ahead of time. I wish they'd tell us like exactly when, but I'd imagine this is sort of just like off the cuff, like playing by ear at this point. So like this is just completely unplanned on their part.
Yeah, this doesn't feel planned. This is like I have not seen the Japanese, like the JP community. Like, I'm not even saying people who play JP. I'm just saying like literally people who speak Japanese. Like, I have not
This
seen
bad.
people. Yeah, I've not seen people from that community this like unanimously mad. Like, obviously there's still people. I think like sometimes people go too far regarding this topic, but like it's just never before seen. You know, like people who like even tries to defend this a little bit gets like swarmed on Twitter, which is very rare to see this kind of Japanese Twitter use. At least from me, from the FGO community, I just don't see it that much. But like this time, it's just like everyone went feral, and it's crazy. I think like this is the effective way to protest, which is you know you need a large enough collective to voice your dissatisfaction to the company. But yeah.
So I've mentioned this on my streams a couple times this last week. My theory is that they were planning on adding some sort of thing with coins on the 30 million
mil?
campaign, and they were just gonna be like, okay, well if we release these separate, it won't be too bad, right? Like they're still gonna get, and then like they forgot that people hate when they don't know if they're getting something, right? Because like the math works out, and then like holy shit, like they gotta go really hard to get that, to get their shit maxed out. So like I feel like they just vastly overestimated the community's patience, and like they didn't, like the community had no reason to expect any solution, I guess, beyond like it made sense to make more coins, but
Yeah.
but there are a few more things that they were going to do with this first change. So, for one, something that Ryou pointed out is the fact that they were actually kind of pushing people to burn coins on servants that you already had completely maxed out. So already 120 and all 3 pens unlocked. So as an apology, they said that they're going to give us all of those coins back for like the casting. Like, and as far as like the text says, I think it says like just all of the coins.
Yeah, all of them. So any coins you spent. So the past 2.5 years of coins. So you know, at 2,000 coins a piece, 4,000 a month over the past, what is it like? 24. It's basically like 114,000 coins or something like that. Is I think what I'm getting back.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Which is a lot. It basically means I don't need to like hyper roll on the next like limited like low rarity in the FP thing to get coins, which is great. And not to jump in, but I'm going to say the next part that they announced, aside from giving the coins, is if you did not redeem a grail from grail casting, they're just giving you those grails.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like that.
If you missed them or were like, you know, didn't have coins at the time, they're just giving you those grails. So some people may see an influx of a bunch of grails,
and then
to 48 grails. Oh, 88. Wait. Why is it 88? Is it 24 months?
88. Well, because it's 20. It's 30. It's 30. It's been 30 months of grail casting or so.
Oh,
so
30
no, like
months.
32
Yeah,
months.
it's
32
been-
months, isn't it?
It's been
And
over.
then that's
It's
2
been
grails
over
a
2.5
piece, so it's like
years.
64.
Remember, because
Ugh.
NA
Yeah.
got that over half a year ago. They got it at the start of the year. But also, if you've already redeemed all of those grails, though, like if you already redeemed them, the good thing is you actually get all those coins back, and you're good for like 2.5 years of grail casting. So there's that too.
Yeah.
That's another good
So
one.
it benefits most people, I would say. Not everyone gets something out of this, but They also gave us all 120 SQ, which is pretty cool. Gotta
Yeah,
love SQ, and also it's kind of funny because that barely pushed us. I think that barely pushed us above 600. So the bingo card was actually wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it went from one of the lowest SQ annies to above the average with that. So
Yeah.
But a couple days ago, they put out part 2 to this, which kind of, I'd say it addresses most of the rest of the concerns with it, because now they're making it possible for people to just get all of the appends with the still at the NP6 and all. So the way they're doing this is, after you get to Bond 7, you're going to get more coins than you used to. And I've heard some conflicting answers, but what the JP community seems to agree on is that it's an additional 240. Some people are saying that it's a total of 240, but
no,
No.
an actual translation says it's an additional 240 to unlock 2 additional append skills.
Yeah,
Google Translate, if you use just Google Translate, it is not clear. But even if you throw it into like DeepL, it's very clear. Like, or you look at any Japanese post.
yeah.
I mean, their main goal is realistically just to maintain the status quo for, like, before anything, I would say. Like, obviously, it's actually better.
I hate JJK memes.
Like, it's definitely better than maintaining the status quo, but like their main goal, first and foremost, at least in my opinion, is to maintain the status quo for absolutely maxed out servants. You don't need to pull for any more copies if you want to max out a servant, right? Like, that's probably their main goal. So making it 240 wouldn't make sense. It has to be plus 240, and every wording I've seen says plus 240 as well. So like, yeah.
Plus, that makes welfare. That's the only thing that makes sense for welfares as well. Because welfares, you got the additional coins. One thing that does do though is it really makes it so that NP5 for 120 is actually super realistic, because most servants, there are very few servants who want all 5 appends, like berserkers.
I think
for
there
example.
is 0. Like, I think there's literally
there's almost no servants that
there's-
have 5 good appends.
Look, I would love to have all 5 on Total Eco, because I like the extra attack, I like the crit, I like the anti-berserker.
Yeah, but like, you
like the cooldown.
Yeah,
Well,
but,
I guess,
but the vast majority of servants don't really get anything out of their 3rd append, and then a lot don't
basically,
get
unless you're
anything out of their 1st
anti-berserker.
append. And then you also have a lot of servants that just aren't very crit oriented, so the 4th append doesn't do much anything. Like, I'm gonna be
NP5
honest.
and just picking.
I'm gonna be
Just the
honest.
fact that you
2nd
can-
append and 5th append, it's those 2 are just so good, and the others are not as good.
Plus, if you can swap appends, it actually doesn't matter, because then you just, if you need one thing over the other for the fight,
Exactly.
like you could turn off the anti-class damage when you don't need it, and then just turn it on when you do, and swap it over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Exactly.
like-
I guess the
So-
best way to put it is like, there's basically 0 situations where you need all 5 of them active at the same time. Like, it's just almost never gonna
especially
happen.
for like Buster servants. Append 2 on Buster servants is like a luxury pick that you do, like, because what if you're for some reason you have a 30 spread
battery.
charger?
No, if you have 30 battery.
No, okay, let me for
you
like
need
a
it.
50% charger with
Oh
this.
yeah. That's not really,
on those ones it was pointless, but people unlocked it anyway because it was the best one. But it's
or like on Arcade Brunstead.
on Arcade.
so
what
bad.
are you doing on that now? You don't need it. Like, just you put it on something else, for heaven's sake.
Yeah. So it's great. At least in my opinion, it's just it's great. I think the change really like addresses, like, people are still gonna say, but you still need MP6 to max servant and whatnot. But I think like the fact that it's not just returning to the status quo, it allows like lower MP copies to 120, for example. Like, you can 120 at MP1, or you can unlock more appends.
I feel like that's one of the best things about it. Like, it's super reasonable to be able to 120 an NP1 servant now. It's still a bit rough for like not 5-star servants, but like I feel like I feel like
I don't
that's
think you
just
can
gonna
MP1
stay
a
the case.
non-5-star servant, but
you
you can, because it's a total of 420 coins from Bond 15, which means
Oh,
even
yeah.
before Bond 15, if you
yeah,
actually,
I guess
hold
that
on.
is-
If it's 420 coins, that is no matter how many copies, MP1 is always going to be
Enough.
120 plus one append. So for any
Right.
servant, yeah.
Actually,
as long as
yeah,
you're Bond
true.
15.
Yeah, that's
Because
the-
it's a
that's the
flat
base
number
level.
increase from bonds. It doesn't care about rarity. Like the bonds 7 to 15, the bond coins don't change
it's-
depending on rarity. Yeah.
To the person in chat, it's 420 from 1 to 15.
Oh yeah, it's
They're adding an additional 240 onto it, which means it was 180 before plus 240 is 420. That's how math works.
Funny number.
Yeah,
One of the funny
blaze
numbers.
it. My servants are blazing it at 15.
But yeah, it's pretty nice. I think I have a list. I have a number list because like the one difficult thing about this is you don't know what the spread is per bond because it doesn't work out. I think the numbers like you can't divide it evenly.
Yeah, so
across-
basically, if it was 8 and above, then it would be 30 per bond level. But like 7 through 15 is like 9. It's not 8.
They may just do it like, what if they do it like additional 25 per, and then just dump the rest on the last bit on bond 15?
It could be something like that. I don't know. We'll figure out eventually though.
But yeah, I have a list for like assuming bond 15. I mean, on bond 15 is very daunting, but like this is the best we can do now in terms of calculations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's great. I think it's a great change. Like when you combine the two responses to this, the fact that you can swap append skills, like it's an equipable skill, the fact that you get like regardless of rarity, you get 240 extra coins from bond. It's just good. It's good. Like I don't like. Yeah, you can still complain about. Yeah, you can still complain about like 4-star coins being ridiculous, but I think like as a response, this is more than enough. This is like you actually got a coin improvement out of it's not just return the status quo, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and also we're still not done. There's still more to be said here.
The next part doesn't affect many people.
Yeah, this doesn't affect very many people. It also actually affects me, ironically, but
did you roll in the
GSSR.
past in that 5 days? Did you get an MP6 plus copy in your GSSR?
yeah, I got a Buki.
Oh,
Yeah, Saber Buki, so yeah.
right.
But anyways, what it is, basically, if within the period of like this last week, basically, I think the cutoff point is. Oh wait, no, it's the cutoff point is
when
Friday.
the announcement happened, so it was 5 days.
Yeah. So basically, if you rolled over NP5 on like a 5-star servant, or over NP like 10 or more on limited SR and story limited SR, and then 16 or more on a 16 or more is still ass cheeks, but on an SR servant, what they'll do, they will compensate you with the equivalent amount of blank coins, basically, which is pretty interesting. We don't know how they're going to implement it. It could be they make it so you can submit them in some sort of shop to get like normal coins for whatever servant. You might be able to just like slap them on there, sort of like all class EXP. I don't know. We have yet to see what that's going to be, but
give blank coins, like they make blank coins. That
yeah,
they can then use in the future.
that I think that's the
Maybe.
biggest takeaway. It's like,
it's
okay,
in the game now.
It's going to be a thing, which means that the idea that sometime in the future we're going to have some way of getting those, like, that seems pretty feasible.
Yep. It's there's coding for blank coins in the game, or universal coins, as people love to talk about.
Oh yeah.
I like to call
Oh yeah.
them.
Also, if you used USOs, and they'll redeem, they'll
Yes,
refund
if
you those.
use USOs for over MP5, so MP6 or above, in that time frame, you will get your USOs back, which means I am getting a refund for because I lied on stream. I already had MP5. I just hadn't merged them yet, and I had it in the second archive. I already had
Wow.
MP5 at the
A
time
liar.
that I spent the USO. And so
Too ashamed
I
to
get
admit
my,
it. Yeah.
I get my USO refunded.
Yeah. He's too ashamed to admit that he's a crackhead. You know, like. But yeah. I mean that's great. You also get you don't they don't take away any of the things you bought for with the USO, right? You still have
Yeah.
the rare prisms, or you want to keep you can keep it as a esports copy for some reason, or like just as a flex. It's nice. I mean,
Yeah,
I
you're getting
Yeah.
to keep it.
You
so.
could be one of those degenerates that maxes out a second servant. Like,
Yeah,
I-
120
I-
a servant twice, like a psychopath.
that is definitely
kind of did that with Queen of Sheba. I didn't max her to like over
No, you didn't
80,
120 her
but
twice though.
but yeah, I do have an NP5 level 80 copy just because you need NP10 at 114 to completely max her.
I'm gonna be real. That definitely sounds like a Eresh fan behavior. Is to just max like fucking 20 copies of her, like super hardcore Eresh fans, not like, you know, just I appreciate the character. It's literally like, oh my god, I'm gonna marry Hatsune Miku type Eresh fans. Yeah, then yeah, there you go.
Absolutely cringe.
I'd also like to take a moment and like, I mean, we already knew this stuff. You guys have seen pictures, but we just gotta appreciate the summer servants. This is not an ad. I don't care about whoever this is.
Boo!
These
You
two.
stink.
Yeah, these
I
two.
saw Ciel
These
and
two
I'm
are good.
upset.
Like,
Yeah.
this is just blue mash. Ew.
Yeah, blue mash, get off my screen.
Yeah, she even has like the big gun thing, like the big black gun thing, and like, what a copycat. But yeah, Dobrina, who appears to be a Lancer, and I'm really hoping she's a Lancer because I've been farming a shit ton of Lancer XP.
Dude, when they first showed it and it just showed the tip of the sword, I'm like, is that Morgan again for some reason? Because it looks kind of like her spear. I was like, they
thought it
wouldn't do
was
Morgan again.
I thought it was Eresh's for a second, and it was like, oh my god, are they actually
true.
adding Summer Eresh? And
Well, they
then it was,
are, but-
No.
And
then it was yes. Yeah. So I'm also curious as to what they're going to do with Jufu. I can almost guarantee you she's going to be some sort of support.
No, I don't. I think she's going to be offensive. They made her first form as support. I think this one's going to be offensive.
I mean, we
she
did
may
have Castoria.
her skills may
I mean,
be targetable,
she could-
but like she'll have an offensive MP.
I think it's going to be a Summer Scotty situation where she does have a damaging NP, but she's going to be potentially supportive.
She's just gonna give Mayron 500% MP damage up for 5 turns. Like,
I
Okay.
hope they don't dump
So-
more into Yume Ren because the U servants are, unless the 5-star is Yume Ren for some reason, which they wouldn't do. They wouldn't give a servant 2 summer forms, right?
oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
sure.
did last year with Nocnaria.
No. Nocnaria is different than May. Don't bring this up.
Also, they did that with the Valkyrie. They gave them 3 instead of just 1.
Those were welfares. Those were essentially costumes.
actually-
And they even
That's
all had
3?
costumes. Like, there's some favoritism there.
Actually, that's 3
You're
different.
wrong. You're
Three
wrong. I'll fight
3
you on
different
this.
servant. Yeah, but anyways, I mean. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. Also, for those that swing other ways, there's quite a lot to enjoy here as well.
I mean, yeah.
I've seen some thirst in my server.
Oh, Percival naked, but
For
like
Percival being mostly
naked.
yeah, Percival's doing Percival things.
Yeah, it's so funny. Karna looks so tiny. He's just such a tiny little person.
I
That's
mean,
to be
he's
seen.
like an Asian between 2 Europeans. That's very.
It's
that makes
correct.
sense. It's correct. It is.
It is the most
by a-
unkarna looking Karna I've ever seen.
He looks a little sunburnt.
What do you mean? He's
just-
still
He actually
he's
just
as
looks
pale as
burnt.
pale can be.
No, that's
Me when-
sunscreen.
Me when I'm the sun. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of like talk about, like, can we go back to Dobrinia? The image.
Sure thing. Gladly.
There's obviously a lot of talk with the you see the little emblem there. There's a white bunny and a black fox. Very yeah, I mean,
Are we getting summer Koyan? You think?
I mean,
We'll know in 3 days.
honestly, look, I've been coping, but I think I'm like lowering my expectations at this point. You know, just because like I just feel like it's not gonna happen. You know, the universe doesn't want it to happen. To be honest, like we didn't get the Koyan buff, we didn't get the Tamamo buff. I think it's just fucking over. To be honest, it's just not her year. Okay, it's just not her year.
What if the second SSR is also a new character? It's not a.
Dude,
Do you think
people would
be
hate
mad?
that. Yeah, because some people are already upset about Ciel because it's kind of like it makes sense because like the entire thing about summer is like you got these existing servants that are getting summer alts, and when you replace that with a new servant, like some people might feel a little cheated because their own servant didn't get into the event.
Do you know? Oh,
It's kind of it's weird though because Space Eresh is like a summer servant kind of.
yeah, so,
They
they
could have swapped
even
them.
out. Yeah, they even out. I mean, okay, here's the actual tragic news for hardcore Tsukihime fans. During the Famitsu interview, Ciel is confirmed to be servant verse. So most likely going to become a fucking joke character. All right, like I'm so sorry. She is probably going to become a joke character. She's probably gonna have Neko arc in her attack animations or some shit.
If she has Neko arc, I'm not rolling.
She's gonna have Neko arc in her. Like,
I will actively avoid rolling this.
I tell you what, if she does have Neko arc in her animations, I will roll. But that's because I already plan on rolling, so yeah.
If there's Neko arc, I am actively avoiding rolling. I refuse.
No, here's the thing though. Like, I think it could be cute if Arc gets a rerun and then she gets a cat costume. So she can live up to the meme of being human Neko Arc.
Yeah, and she can get animal characteristics.
Oh, true.
They wouldn't give it to her.
No, they would
do it for some reason.
They did it with Shiki, like.
Oh, but they don't do it for everyone though. For some reason.
Yeah,
you know, there's some characters with bunny ears that don't get it, and some that do.
There's one character.
Queen of Sheba having like 5 different animal attributes and not being even remotely.
It is too much.
Animalistic.
It is too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I'm still hoping for Summer Koyan, especially after the coin announcement. Like, I don't have to feel guilty for pulling MP6 anymore because you know I've been catching some flag from caving to the big corpo.
Nikke's summer is thick. But I don't think her name is Nikke.
Speaking of caving to the big corpo, there's a tweet I want to show, and I would like to bring it up. It is Japanese. You will have to Google translate it, but it is a tweet that I think is like because it's interesting because I've seen a lot of like because you see this kind of sentiment, and it you know, for people who went and like, you know, rolled extra copies of say Eresh or spent their GSSR trying to get additional copies, you know, it's like because there's a lot of people online.
This is interesting.
I mean, I understand. Like, I understand the dissatisfaction. Like it's obviously very easy to say like, damn, look at you. You're the reason that they're doing
let's
this,
let's actually read this first. They don't know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Those who played the gacha for the coins without expecting a response from the management are asked, why didn't you wait for a response? I find it really unpleasant that there are idiots out there who make fun of people like that and slander those who did pull it. It must feel really good for people who don't even spend that much to sneer at the heavy spenders who are being manipulated by the management using hindsight as a game of rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, I saw that post and I was like, I feel that because I myself have had people going, wow, you wasted your GSSR trying to get additional copies. Or it's like, no, it's like, look, don't insult me for going along with what I thought I had to do to get what I wanted. It's
I mean, like, I understand the logic behind like vote with your wallet. Like, yes, but like at the same time, you gotta remember there's a reason why like voting is kept anonymous, right? Like the moment you like reveal how you're voting or whatever, like that's like the basic rule of voting. You can't let people, know about it, and like people can like chastise you for it. That's just not a fair vote anymore, right? I just feel like people should have their own choice to do whatever the fuck they want. And I mean, I understand the backlash, but at the same time, I'm not going to change my decision just because I got backlash. It's just yeah. But anyways,
There's some real hate out there for like whales and shit.
I mean,
which
it's always been a thing, to be honest. Like whale
has.
hate for not JP, whale hate for FGO in general is just been a thing. Like it's just like, oh, the reason they're even pushing this is because people didn't start shit with MP6. The power of hindsight is very is strong, but the power of hindsight is also very hurtful sometimes, and yeah, there you go.
Now we do know that people will start it and they will fight back. Like they will complain. The Japanese player base will actually complain if they feel that things have gone too far, which is nice to see.
Yeah,
I
believe...
I was hoping it wasn't just us feeling like feeling like slighted, but when I started seeing Japanese Twitter being just as upset, I'm like, okay, good. Apparently boycotts don't work. I just saw an article earlier of like talking about like people who saying to boycott some MiHoYo game and they made like 100 million or something. It's like, yeah, but saying boycott doesn't work online apparently.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how to put it. It's just like I think like sometimes when Whale says this kind of stuff, it is more like it doesn't detract from what they're saying. Sometimes in fact it adds to what they're saying, because like they are the ones that have been tolerating this system, and then like, oh, now you step on the line, and then it's a better indicator than because they're like the bigger customers that are caving to this stuff. And then like I don't don't want to get like lynched online. I apologize, but yeah.
Just going off of something someone in chat said, I'm not a fan of the... Like, I understand what you guys mean when you're saying that whales have the... since whales are the ones that are funding the game, they have some manner of control over what ends up happening. But it's hard to just... It's hard to just say that because, like, okay, so this is the most control we've had over what they've done after all of these years. And it wasn't even exclusively the whales, it was just like the player base at large.
It was the general player base this time.
And like I mean, can we not just like blame them for not wanting to do anything with the whales' money? Why do we have to blame the whales?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like they've given up on the single already. They're like, okay, they're greedy corpo, so they're not gonna change. But you shouldn't tolerate it. And I mean, it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, yeah, I don't think the fault is ever on the customer. It's just like,
this is like there's so many people that spend money, and it's just like, if you're like, don't drop it on like one or two people when they spend money on the game, okay? Like I just don't see how individuals have that much influence here.
Yeah, like I know it's a like it is pessimistic to say, oh, I'm just one whale, I'm not gonna change, but at the same time, I just don't think it should always, you can't always place the blame on whales, because like I'm willing to bet that one of the reasons why they responded so quickly is because they're like, oh shit, these people are complaining, like even these people are complaining, oh, we probably fucked up, right? Like I think like the whales, making themselves heard with this complaint also is a big like proponent as to why they responded so swiftly. So I just think like, I'm not saying whales are VIPs or like whatever, but I'm at the same time, they shouldn't always be they shouldn't always be the target. I think they're easy target. Like they're literally called whales. They're big targets. You can easily like shoot your fucking harpoon at. But you
If
know,
they could
at the
come
same
up
time, I don't think that should be a thing.
If they could come up with the fix in 5 days, why didn't announce it earlier and allow the fan base to rage? That's why they did announce something within 24 hours. Like, I'd imagine a lot of the changes that they announced with the second announcement was stuff that they had to, like, run by Aniplex and stuff. Because that like, greatly changes their monetization of these characters. So, like, I wouldn't imagine that they would just immediately, like, throw that out there. Like, I mean, part of it, I'm sure, is, like, they weren't sure, they were probably not sure how satisfied people would be with the first announcement, but, like, like, it's kind of just PR. Like, you still want to, like, be able to get an estimate of what you want to gauge, like, what people want here. And, like, clearly they had some sort of skewed perception on that, that they had to fix.
Yep. They didn't announce fixed earlier because they were supposed to. Well, no, I think it was more so they announced the initial thing, and then they literally have to, like, the developers, I'm sure, would have loved to push through and announce a big change right away, but they have to convince the people in charge to make the change. Like, when it, like, at my work, when things go wrong and a change has to be made to a system, I know the change that has to be made, but sometimes it does not happen in a day. It can take a couple days for things to go through. I mean, I deal with that at work, all the time. Like when they're changing, like, programs and systems. So I know it's not like, because someone has to approve it. Someone is somewhere higher than the people who actually have to deal with the problem get to make certain decisions, and sometimes they then have to go and check with other people, and so it's not an immediate thing. So it's like they pushed out something in 24 hours that they were able to quickly get someone to go, okay, yeah, that's good, and then take a couple days to go, hey, here are what we think you should do. Here's a couple different options. What one are you going to approve? And then they take that one and they move forward with it, because I guarantee you the developers themselves probably have multiple thoughts about how to fix the problem, and it's just which one presented to management gets approved, the upper management gets approved.
I think the problem really is just, like, I mean, it's a common issue amongst many different communities where they just think of things as too simple, right? Like they always think like, oh, there's no, they have a lot of assumptions regarding how the company's being run, when, like, in truth it might not be that simple. Like people really like to assume, like, oh, they had to have been able to do this, so why did they do this? There's just a lot of assumptions that shouldn't be made, in my opinion.
Ultimately, like, all of this still is speculation. This is
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
all
how
just speculation.
this is how a lot of
Right.
companies are, especially Japanese companies. They are very private about this type of information, because, like, and I'd imagine it's largely because they don't want blame to be placed on any person in
Yeah.
particular.
And
I mean, like,
yeah, because
like
one person said
you've seen what
it's
happens with, like, Genshin and shit. Like, some people
Yeah.
are fucking ravenous and will do crazy shit if
Yeah,
they actually know who they can place blame on, or even if
and
they
one person
don't.
said in the chat that because it's not like the devs are saying they want money in the end. Do you honestly think that if the game makes more money, the developers themselves, the coders, get a significant amount? No, that money, the money is not like
Yeah,
the
they're
people
probably
actually
not
making
paid.
the game
It's
aren't the
probably not
one
paid that way.
profiting from that. They're
Yeah.
salaried. They have a salary. Like they're not like, every time you spend an extra dollar, some random coder doesn't get an extra 10 cents. Like that's not how that works. That's not how, like, there's so many stories from the gaming industry of developers wanting something and then someone higher up going, hey, let's monetize it this way, and them having to do that. Like that happens all the time. So I'm more inclined to believe that the developers are not evil, and that it is people upper in charge making bad choices, for the sake of monetization. than the people actually making the game and like designing systems doing it intentionally on their part.
Yeah, I mean, I just think like at the end of the day, a lot of this kind of, like back and forth of like, okay, I'm assuming how things work, backstage. It's just kind of pointless. Like all we can really, actually look at and then talk, like think about is what ends up happening. Like you can't guess the intentions of the devs, right? Like you can, that's my opinion. I don't think you can ever guess the intention of the devs. Like, yes, you can, of course, fantasize about how Tucson's the martyr that tried to save us from the evil Sony corpos, but like maybe that's also not the case, right? Like it goes both ways. I just think like at the end of the day, what's important is what's been implemented. Like, what did we get out of this whole ordeal? Which is, of course, the two changes we talked about. And
got
in
a
my
call.
opinion, it is
And
positive.
and with those two changes, once again, you don't if you want a 120 a servant, NP6 is I really wouldn't recommend it anymore. I'd say
Yeah.
NP5 would be, where you want to stop because who
Yeah.
cares if you're missing one append at the end? And if you can swap them, it doesn't matter. Just change the whatever. So honestly, the change itself, I know people say it's the status quo, but it's not really the status quo.
It is better.
Because,
it is better
because
than
it's
status quo,
better
for
than
sure.
what we had before. One, we have the extra appends. Two, we have the ability to move things along. And three, you don't need to get 6 copies to utilize each thing.
Yeah, it's only the status quo. Ironically, it's only the status quo for like people who like intend to max out a servant, right? Like if your goal is just to cap out everything on a servant, it is the status quo. Nothing, like there's no improvement regarding that because
like,
the append switch doesn't mean anything because you have all of them up, and then also you still need MP6, right? Like
that's like the same as those people who rolled NP7 before because they didn't want to bond 10 someone.
Yeah,
in order to unlock their pens.
same.
It's for those type of people, but those type of people are going to be those type of people no matter what. Like. Yeah. Like that this change, but for like the normal player base and even people like me, because like I'm not gonna like look if a berserker I really like comes out, I'm not gonna roll NP6. I'll just deal with NP5. Like I don't need crit resist or like
that sucks.
Or if like the anti class is terrible, like if it's not berserker basically, why bother? Like honestly.
Also want to point out, assuming we're understanding this all correctly, so we're gonna, if you have an NP5 5-star, because like you're a person that doesn't want to go for more than NP5, because like that's it makes sense to not go for more than NP5. So after the coin, like the bond thing that they announced, you should be able to get 870 total coins by like. By bond 15, you'll have 870. You subtract 300 out of that, you got 570, which means you can reasonably afford 4 appends at that level. And I think you only need to be, well, I guess it depends on how much it scales, but like you might only need like bond 13 to be able to get 4 appends. And like, I'm gonna be honest, guys, like I know a lot of people are saying that this is just like not an actual fix here, but this is actually going to help out a lot of people. I know that
it helps out so.
Yeah, because like now you don't have to like roll a bunch of extra copies to do everything. Like if you're willing to go to NP5, oftentimes you don't really need more than that.
Yeah, you absolutely don't need more than that, and it's like, just like it benefits the low spenders even more because like if you think about it, the coins that you get from bond, like as I said before, it doesn't scale with rarity, so you're getting the flat amount of coins. It doesn't scale with MP copies. I don't know how to put it. It's just like it requires less copies for everything, essentially, other than maxing out a servant. Because if you think about it this way, right, they are maintaining the same amount of required copies if you want 5 appends. So if your goal is still like 2 appends, then obviously it's gonna be cheaper than what it used to be because that's just how it is. But
yep. What was the next topic?
Well, they buffed a lot of servants. But also you guys wanted to talk about Space Eresh, and I'm just gonna sort of let you guys go on that one because like I don't
Literally
really
just
have...
him.
Wait, you don't want to talk about Space Eresh?
I
One
mean,
thing
I
do
have a
wanna-
little bit to talk about, but yeah.
I do want to talk about one thing about Space Eresh is the wiki was wrong. Holy cow, the wiki was wrong.
Okay.
The wiki until like yesterday
The wiki.
showed Eresh having 2 times class advantage against extra classes, which is in fact incorrect. It is 1.5.
Oh my god.
So I put out a video and I had a slide and I even mentioned it in the voice of Eresh's numbers against extra classes, and it was wrong. The wiki was wrong. It's 1.5. It doesn't change my conclusion with Eresh at all.
I'm so glad I haven't put out the hot take video. Holy shit. And then like you were actually sussing it out on day 1 because remember, we looked at the arrow sizes.
Yeah.
Her arrow
I thought it was 1.5, and then everywhere else said 2, and I was like, I guess it's 2.
Yeah.
Damn, you got gaslit by people who didn't know either.
Wait, no. We got scammed though. Because her arrow is the big one.
Yeah, it's the big arrow.
She's the big arrow.
Unlike Berserkers where it's the tiny arrow, it's the big arrow. So like
not
that
even Berserker. Draco has a small arrow.
Do alter egos have a small arrow?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Berserkers have a small arrow. Draco has a small arrow, and the only like Eresh, I don't know why Eresh has a big arrow. Big arrows are supposed to be double
full advantage.
Yeah, times 2.
Now it does not really actually change how Eresh would be used, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, and I've seen a lot of people say it, and especially like, you know, online and stuff like that, is they don't think that Eresh's neutral damage is good. But I would argue that it's good.
It's
because
yeah, sorry.
By turn 2, you're past a Berserker level, and by turn 3, you're at like 1.6, 1.7 really easily.
I mean, I will say that I think like her steroids are toned down as compensation for that, and her attack stat. So like she would be a low DPS Berserker. Like she wouldn't be like Summer Ibuki, who is like a hyper offensive Berserker. But as you said, yes, she would be a low DPS Berserker, and by turn 3, she'll be a better, even better than low DPS.
Question. I forgot. What exactly is her overcharge? Because I know her overcharge increases her like affection and stuff.
That's it. That's all her overcharge does.
Yeah, that's it. Which kind of sucks. I don't like that.
I do wish that something else was there. But like, yeah, I've been using her and Melusine and a bunch of other things. But like, unless like literally unless you're fighting against an Earth enemy, like there is like no appreciable difference between Melusine, Ibuki, and Eresh.
At hyper investment, by the way. And just clarify for people, he's saying 120 and P5.
I was wrong. Draco has a big arrow.
Oh.
So okay. I actually I know their logic now. If you have both offensive and defensive advantage, it's a big arrow.
Oh.
That must be it.
But yeah,
that's so come on.
Wait, was I feel like I knew that. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you were mentioning like hyper, but like if I'm comparing them all at 120 NP5 MLB Black Grail and they're all doing kind of the same, if they're all level 90 MP2 with a normal Black Grail, the numbers will be the same, just lower. It's going to be the same variance. Having it hyper doesn't change the. In fact, that actually would multiply.
It would change it a little bit. It would change a little bit because of attack stat.
Right, it would make the gulfs wider. It would make it more obvious the differences. If they're closer in level and closer in attack stat, then the differences are less noticeable even.
Well, if they're both
multiplied,
like if they're
up, essentially.
if they're both at like if they're all at 90, the difference is going to be larger.
No, it'll be lesser
Well,
because a
well, okay,
120.
okay. So let me put it let me put it to you mathematically. Okay, so the percentage increase from 10,000 to 11,000 is a 10% increase, but the percentage increase from 15,000 to 16,000 is less than that. It's like a 7% increase.
But
yeah, but
so the difference between a level, so the difference between the attack stat of a level 90 Ibuki and a level 90 Space Eresh is 1,534. The difference in the attack stat between a fully maxed out, gold foe, Summer Buki, and a fully maxed out gold foe Space Eresh is 1,971. So and then these things get multiplied.
Can you do divisions? Like what is it like the same amount of percentage
how much
increase in terms of stat?
Oh, okay. Let me check here.
Also,
that would be.
Also, what are their base numbers like 90 and then at 120? I don't have this. I guess I have Eresh's in front of me, kind of. But Atlas doesn't show all the 120 calculations. Well, how's it going?
So yeah, okay. The difference is actually no. The difference is the same. Eresh is 89% of Ibuki's attack at 90, and she's 89% of Ibuki's attack at 120 gold foe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
the numbers are the same, so they just scale down. So there's no difference.
So yeah. So what we meant by the difference would be bigger is like literally the number.
Yeah, the numbers are farther apart.
If you subtract,
yeah, I get what you mean by that. I get what you mean by that. But that's just because like it's all being a bigger number.
Right.
So.
Right, but yeah, so it's like it's more noticeable at higher MP levels. Like higher levels. So like if you're doing 5 million damage and Eresh is doing 4 million damage, and then at 90 Ibuki is doing 1.2 million, and Eresh is doing
tell you what, though?
960 million. That's a smaller gulf of like, one is a million higher, one is 200,000 higher.
Okay. Okay, so where this becomes interesting is, what if we start talking about non-single core? What if we talk about like multi-core situations? Who pulls ahead? Because Eresh does have like team-wide charge, and she does have team-wide damage buffs, but she can't get to max affection very easily.
It's actually not that difficult to get to 6.
Okay, but that's not. It's not max.
Right, but not max affection. But
you can't max in normal
6
cases.
Six is pretty good. Yeah, you can't max in normal cases in any way. You can't get to 10 in normal farming unless you're on a water side and you have like some overcharge thing and you're like swapping and doing a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
10 is not something you do in normal farming.
Okay, so if we consider multi-core though, what's the case for Melusine? I know she does have
Melusine in multi-core. You put her out to the pasture. She's not in this conversation.
That wasn't my intent, but that wasn't my point. But yeah.
So Melusine steps out of multi-core because she provides no team utility.
She's one thing though. I know Rio's the Melusine master, but I will say one thing. For like lower HP stuff, when you don't need to push damage, Melusine is the most convenient for multi-core, because I literally don't need to give her art subs.
Oh yeah, she doesn't need art subs. She doesn't need charge. So
that's like the biggest case I see for her. It's the fact that she doesn't need any help getting her NP.
Yeah, I think I did Lady Avalon, Tama Lancer, and Melusine Ruler frontline only for one of the hunting quests. Like it was just like, just click 3 buttons.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's just like the one problem I see with her is the fact that she has to ramp up. But the fact that she has super effective makes her a little more flexible than.
Yeah, if it's against her, but Melusine is the least useful in multi-core. Ibuki and Eresh do different things in multi-core though. Like Ibuki is like attack up and cooldown reduction and arts buster up, whereas Eresh is 20% spread charge, attack and NP damage up. So like those are different things, and depending on what you're doing and what you're looking for, they both have valid uses. I don't think that particularly one is more valuable than the other, because sometimes skill cooldown, like if Ibuki is multi-coring in a buster team, the skill cooldown is probably appreciated, but if she's multi-coring in an arts team or with a quick servant, probably doesn't do anything.
There's another thing with Space Eresh that people aren't mentioning. Then I know like people are gonna say, oh, but like who uses that, right? I think Space Eresh is the most dominant frontline only no plug looper. Like it is just so much damage. Like
the fact that with Atlas she's putting out numbers like that is kind of hilarious. Is people shit on Atlas
Atlas is essentially a 15% buff to all 3 turns. Like when you get down to it.
Yeah, it actually allows you to do enough damage with no plug, because like the problem with no plug is you don't have enough damage even with something like Arctic. Well, with Space Eresh you actually have enough damage with Atlas. And another thing is with Atlas she has 140 MP charge,
because looping is not a problem.
Yeah, looping is not a problem. She's double casting all of her batteries. So like if you want to like save time or whatever, or like if you like to have 3 open up backspaces for bond, Space Eresh might just be the best option for that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying this is like super relevant. It depends on what you want. But another strength that Space Eresh has is frontline only. Like no plug suit, she has very, very powerful on damage, on refund, on batteries, just all of that. I don't think anything can beat her in terms of no plug. Like it's just so easy to work with. But yeah,
she does. She also has healing and buff removal resistance. And
chat member, actually she does have a healing. So yeah, her third skill is like kind of everything when it comes to defense. It's honestly an incredible skill.
It's literally every defensive skill at once. Like it's invincibility, guts, heal, debuff cleanse, debuff removal resistance. And then
you say buff removal resistance?
Yeah, so sorry, buff removal resistance. Yeah, it's literally every defensive button at once. Like it doesn't add, well, except adding actual defense, but she takes neutral damage from everything except Avengers. The only thing she takes a super effective damage from is Avengers, and just don't use her against Avengers.
Okay, guys. So I think we've dwelled long enough on Space Eresh. We're about an hour in, but we've got a shit ton of buffs to talk about. And some of them are not particularly interesting, some of them are controversial, some of them are dumb as shit. But we're going to get into those here. But the first one we're starting with is actually kind of just like a normal buff. It's not a super interesting buff, but it's a really solid buff for her. So the first one went to Benny Enma. They buffed her first skill, which used to just be Mind's Eye Fake, so evade and crit damage. But they added 30% arts for 3 turns and 30% battery, which is a super basic buff. It's just like a card type, and then it's also like battery. But like you pair that on top of her third skill, and now she's got 50% charge for herself, 20 for the team. So like it helps her in just basic performance. Like it helps her use her NP more often, and then it's just like a good boost in damage. Like because like when she wasn't hitting traits, because she has an anti-chaotic and anti-evil separately on her NP, she was kind of like meh on damage, but now she's actually pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a bad buff. It's an interlude would have been her like.
Oh yeah,
I mean, been better.
I mean, I think this allows her to like do multi-cores easily. For example, this allows her to, the damage boost is nice. She has a lot. She has a 50 charger now. It's not like the most impressive buff, obviously, but it is nice. It is nice for what she wants to do. I think it helps her both in just boss killing in general, as well as multi-core, which is really nice because she already has some form of multi-core potential with the party-wide 20 charge and the attack
Yeah.
up. So this just further pushes that, right? I
It
think
does help
it's
because
nice.
she did have like built-in 10% arts buff, and so now it's what 40% built-in.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm. I think it's really
I mean,
nice.
she is immune to skill seal, so yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, you
Like,
got
I don't
that.
think it's a bad buff. I don't think it's a bad buff. We're not tiering the buffs or anything.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't say like any of these buffs are like outright bad because all of them still have their own uses, and
Oh yeah.
that statement might
yeah, it's
have
not like last year.
that
where
that
some of them
statement
felt
might
useless.
that statement might sound contradictory for some people following me on Twitter, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's pretty soon. But the next one I think is a really fun one. Is like he's been in the need for it for a long time. Saber Gilles de Rais finally got a buff. Put it on his first skill. I kind of wanted an NP buff just because his NP only lasts 2 turns, which is a little awkward. But in ways, they did actually buff his NP a little bit. But his first skill is just incredible now. It used to be 16% NP damage for 1 turn, 5-turn cooldown, and he does no NP damage. It's still that, but they added like 5 effects. So there's 50% crit for 3 turns for the whole team if they're lawful. So if you're lawful, you get 50% crit. If you're good, you get 2-time overcharge and by 2 charge, I mean charge up 2 stages, 1 time 3 turns. So he gets both of these because he's lawful good. So that's pretty nice. Then if you have any star allies, star attribute allies, you'll get 20 stars for each of them. So it's sort of like Miss Crane's first skill, except instead of costume, it's star attribute, which is pretty rare, but like there's a couple good ones. And then regardless of traits or whatever, he does get.
I'll be right back. 1 second.
Okay. Regardless of whether or not they have the trait, he also gets 15 stars per turn. That's the same amount that Hans gets and Nobukatsu gets. You can kind of feel the difference between a 10-star bomb, not 10-star bomb, 10 stars per turn and 15 stars per turn. It's quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, just to point it out, because he does give himself overcharge, what you get out of that, his overcharge is stars, so it goes up to 15 stars. So it's kind of funny. Like he'll get 15 stars from using his NP, and he'll get 15 stars per turn in general. So I love this buff. I got a lot to say about it. I'd say, and probably more than you two. No offense. I don't mean to shut you down because I'm sure you guys got stuff to say about it too. It helps him in like doing kind of his own normal things, like his own DPSing. Because like he just kind of needed more damage sources. Because even if you don't have his NP up, you got 52% total buster because he has passive madness enhancement and basically a passive 3rd skill. So he's always got 52% buster. Now he's gonna have 50% crit up quite commonly, and like he's just gonna be able to card a little bit. He's probably not gonna be as good at carding as Fergus, I would say, but he also makes his own stars, like 15 stars per turn for 3 turns, independent of that. Also, I'd like to point something out. As a support, he's actually kind of legit for some low star stuff. And if you're using a lawful, and maybe this is a bit of a hot take, if you're using a lawful servant, like if he's supporting a lawful servant, I think there's a case for him to be more useful than Bart. Because they both have like the team-wide 50% crit for 3 turns. Then like he's got stars per turn instead of 20 stars once. He also has the NP damage buff for 1 turn. It's less than Bart's, but yeah. So really Bart's only, in my opinion, Bart's only advantage over Ciel is 1, he's probably easier to get killed if that's what you want to have happen, and 2, also Bart has 10% charge, but that's That's only so much for some people. That like 10% charge. Usually, the best use case for that is when you're like 10% charge short on turn 1. Like after that, it can be a little RNG whether or not 10% is that much. And Bart costs less. Yeah, but it's only 4 costs less. It's not that much. He's not that much cheaper. It is nice, but 3 stars have 7 costs. It's really cheap. So,
how many star lawfuls are there?
A star lawful? I'm sorry.
Yeah, to get crit stars, because you want star for the stars, and then
15 star, right?
Yeah.
You get 20 stars if
you get 20
it's
stars.
a star.
20 star
They're
bomb.
lawful.
Yeah, 20 star bomb. Yeah.
So like, how many of those are like, how many lawful stars are there? That's the combo, I think.
Yeah, there's Cuckoo and there's Jean. Personally, I think the best servant to support him right now, which is kind of funny because like you'd expect him to want to do like Buster crits and stuff. I think his best support right now, and it's cringe because she's most servants' best support. I think Castoria is just huge for him because she helps him
overcharge.
Yeah, and like so she gets something out of it. He gets a star bomb whenever he uses his first skill. And then he's got stars per turn. So he's pretty self-sufficient with stars, from my experience. And then if you got Castoria, he's able to use his NP more often. And then also, the defense debuff isn't as much of a demerit when you have someone like Castoria helping defend, because she can remove it, and she also has just like good defensive support in general.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, I have some stuff to say about her as well. Him.
Sure. Go right ahead.
Like, I mean, wait, hold on. Okay, so, I mean, I like this buff because it's multi-layered. Like how Otto said, it helps his own playstyle a lot. 5-turn cooldown, 3-turn 50% crit up. It's just what he wants as a carding servant. At the same time, like he works with a lot of specific lawful, good, or star characters, because like you have characters like Kukulkan obviously hitting all of them, who benefits from all of them, not always from the overcharge, but then you also have characters like Tonalico or Bima, right, who they're not star, they don't get the star bomb, but Bima gets a lot out of his overcharge. It's extra hits, extra damage. You get Tonalico, she also gets a lot out of her his overcharge, which is
that's only Tonalico in first ascension. You gotta be careful about that.
You gotta use the magician.
Speaking of Bima, I got a video on that on the way. I used him on stream with them. It was kind of hilarious. Bima's really ridiculous, and he actually helps him out quite a bit. So, yeah. Anyways,
I mean,
he basically upgrades his NP because it's like a 33% increase in damage.
I did look it up, and there really is only one or two servants that are lawful star that benefit from crits. Because I mean, like, well, maybe 3, but like I don't think like Space Dish Star is lawful star, Ron Maru is lawful star, but like those aren't crit servants.
I don't think the star is that necessary because it's just it's basically a star bomb.
Right, but it's the crit damage and the star bomb combined, because like that.
Yeah, but he still has stars per turn. So if you give him like a star bomb CE, it's not that much different.
Right, we're talking like for like immediate effectiveness of the skill, like to be able to.
Yeah, but like crit. You're not gonna use him as the only support. Like if you're using him as a support, you're definitely running another support on top of that. But
it'd be nice if he could be the source of stars and the crit on turn 1 without having to rely on other methods.
Yeah,
I mean, I assume Ryou's more so talking about like what I was gonna talk about briefly about like the way I'd imagine to use him is I'm just gonna have a level 1 copy. Like I mean, it's boring. It's boring. It's very obvious, but like level 1 esports are always good. Like it's hard to. There's some bosses that just don't do damage. That can't kill your level 70s. They can't even kill your level 40s. So having this is really good.
And nothing else he has is good for esports. It's literally just the first skill. So I could see some esports compatibility with him, honestly.
Yeah, like, because Bima is already a top tier, like, in terms of pushing damage. And I think, like, a level 1 Jill Saber would be able to push like some crazy Bima runs in the future. Like you said, I think he probably is like one of the more central part of the puzzle in terms of some Bima min turns. And like yeah, Tonalico gets cooldown reduction on skill 3, also good. And it's just good. Like for a 3-star who's been joked as being one of the fucking worst, like right after Jekyll and Hyde, it's just this is such a good glow up, and it's not just one side, right? It's not just, oh, I made him a support for specific traded units. It helps himself to pull off what he wants to do, which is the crit card spam thing. But at the same time, he also has potential to help others. So this is honestly one of my favorite buffs this anniversary, like realistically, because it's just so well thought out.
Really good start to the buff campaign, honestly.
Yeah.
And then it takes a nosedive on the next one. Let's go.
Yeah, the next one is it's actually
it's
Cleopatra. Yeah, it's Cleopatra. For some reason, I opened up Asclepius first. Cleopatra's is kind of boring, but it's like exactly what she needed, so it's like okay.
So what she needed is a new artist.
So basically, what it was, they just gave her 30% battery and 40% buff success. Which is enough to guarantee her Imperial Privilege, which is a good skill. It's basically you're buffing both skills at once. It's very normal. Her numbers, in my opinion, her numbers damage-wise weren't really that bad to begin with, because she has like 30% buster. MP. Yeah, upgraded MP, 30% buster on use. Also, like, inflicting buff block every time, and then she's also got insane gains. Like this just makes her better at doing what she's already good at doing. It is kind of a shame though, because like I had a couple
cooldowns.
That's usually the case for.
Yeah, the cooldowns are a little bit off, but I don't think
does it matter though? Doesn't it last for 3 turns? So like, wouldn't it work out? Wait, does it work out?
They're both last 3 turns. It kind of just depends on what type of setup you'll be using. It could also be like a Lakshmi situation, because what you do with Lakshmi Bai, people didn't like how her 3rd skill didn't sync up with her 2nd skill, because you have to use the 3rd skill to ensure the 2nd skill. But what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to use the 3rd skill ahead of time. And that way it would come back before the 2nd skill anyways.
Yeah, it's kind of like Skahak. I think I heard someone talk about like how Skahak solo works. It's like Skahak also has a mismatch one, but it's like the exact same thing. But it's just not as ridiculous as like Nero, where like you can guarantee it to always be up. But still, like if you're just being smart about it, I think essentially you almost never miss. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I already kind of liked her gameplay. I got her on a GSSR a while back, but unfortunately that's NA, so I can't do anything with her.
I've never cared for her much.
Yeah, well, no one cares what you think. Anyways, let's talk about
okay.
Wow. Because Danganronpa.
Say it with your chest, sir.
No, I think like I think it's a fine buff, but man, it's still a AoE assassin. It's like, I'd rather just stick with using Koyan if you were gonna use the DPS one, because people probably have Koyans. I think it's easier to invest further into Koyan than it is to do Cleopatra. So it really is just a do you like Cleopatra buff?
Yeah, I like that she's what most buffs are.
She's like a pretty flexible DPS, I'd say, because like she does have good self-survival, because she's got like debuff cleanse and invuln, and then she's also got like she can guarantee Imperial Privilege. That's like a sizable heal and also a pretty big defense buff, and then she's got HP per turn. Of course, that's like kind of to compensate for the self-drain, but I don't think it's that big of a problem. So like,
that's just the reality of most buffs. I don't know, like, because like especially for DPSs, like I think you can't really expect like servants to always suddenly become top tier after they get like a buff. It might not even be that healthy. I don't know. Like we obviously have stuff like Musashi and Skahak. Like we've seen this a lot more this year, but I will say most of the time when they buff a character in this game for DPSs, they're like fixing. I guess like quote unquote fixing what they lack, instead of like trying to blow it like over the top. Like that's a theme that we'll be seeing for a lot more other servants this year, at least in my opinion. So yeah. Anyways.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's all too much to be said about her because she's just not a very interesting character for most people. But the next one, there's quite a bit to be said, in my opinion. So next up is Asclepius. And, it was really funny how, like, the bingo card... I made the bingo card, and I put that one slot on there. It was like, 3-star caster buff. And it was on there, and I was so hyped because it is so hard to, like, not buff a servant that needs it with 3-star casters, and somehow they just went above and beyond and managed to buff the worst, like the absolute worst decision there.
The one character that doesn't need a buff.
The 3-star caster that was the most viable of all of them. No Media buff, no Geo buff, no Paracelsus buff, no Geronimo buff. Yeah.
I mean,
what's
so
up?
here's my hot take. Oh, sorry, you go through the bus first.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So they buffed his third skill. It used to be just 20% in team-wide battery and a debuff cleanse. I really liked this skill. It was like one of the best things about him. It's oftentimes like the most useful thing I used him for. I used him more so for debuff control than healing usually. But they decided to sort of diversify, and now they're going and doubling down on his ability to heal by giving him a self-guts for 3 turns of 3k. So same as his team guts at NP5. And then he gives the whole team 3 turns of 100% heal received up, and then 20% arts for 3 turns as well. So,
yeah. I mean, my hot take about buffing Asclepius is like, essentially, there's 2 ways that you can buff characters, in my opinion. Right? You can go with, let's buff a character that needs it, and then make them no longer underperform, or you push a character so far to the point that they become like a pseudo like borderline meta, right? Like the best at what they do. And if you're going to buff one category of character that way, it's casters. So I don't necessarily think it's horrible. Like, it's really unfair for people who, really like Medea and now she's still shit. But like, there's an argument for like maybe like, oh, I just want Asclepius to be so good that he is seeing regular play in Challenge Quest. But I don't know. I mean, this is playing devil's advocate there.
I do think that in like boss fights, this does make him an option, a better option than some other like debuff cleansers. It's like, I know Asclepius was always like a good debuff cleanser option, but like, I think giving him the arts performance stuff just makes it a little more like, if you're using an art servant, to pick that one over the others. Because like we have for Buster, you have a 4-star, like you have a Ryou, for like debuff cleanse and Buster up, and for him you got arts and debuff. Does Quick have a debuff cleanser and Quick up?
Technically we got Zhang. He has 1 targetable debuff cleanse, but he doesn't have it. It's not a super flexible one, I'd say.
He doesn't give quick buffs though.
He gives a 20%.
Does he?
Wait, who?
Zhang. He's a 3-star caster guy. Yeah.
Oh, I
he gives 20% quick and arts.
Oh.
So I guess he also does put like 20% quick resist down, so it is like technically 40% quick for 3 turns.
I don't think it's a bad buff. I definitely think they could have given the buff to a different 3-star caster, unfortunately.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like that's the biggest offense, just the fact that they gave it to him instead of someone else. Also, I want to point out 20% arts for the whole team for 3 turns on a 7-turn cooldown.
Is not very good.
it's Paracelsus's second skill, but you put like 5 better effects on top of it. It is so funny just like looking at that skill every now and then because people keep adding skills like this that have just like 20% team arts, and it's like, okay,
Oh
it's
yeah,
such a mild
Paracelsus.
effect. And then Paracelsus has it on 7-turn cooldown. Like Boudica has the exact same thing on a 5-turn cooldown. It's like, why is he scuffed like this?
My question is, how, like, I would have thought the obvious thing would be to interlude Medea's, or not interlude, but buff Medea's MP again. Like, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think I think out of all this, I understand people like going like, oh, I'll buff Geronimo or buff these other things. I just think they should buff Medea again, like, because that feels.
See,
and
like
she's an
even
original Stay
yeah,
Night.
this
She's an original Fate
yeah,
Stay Night servant, and
like-
she's terrible.
like this might come across as a hot take, but I feel like Geronimo is more usable than Medea at this point because Medea is a
Dude,
single
it's
target
upgrade
caster.
MP.
Like,
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, like he at least has an NP that you can put buffs into, and he like it's not he's not good by any stretch of the imagination. But if you want buff removal or debuff cleanse, you got better options than Medea. And with Medea, like okay, she'd be a solid single target caster, but she does even less damage than he does.
Well,
Like I
here's the
think he
thing
does the
is-
same amount of damage with his NP
They-
without his arts
do.
buff.
They're both,
But it's
they're
3
both
enemies.
at 900% scaling at MP5. Like,
Yeah.
because he hasn't interluded, because Medea's scaling is AoE, so her buffed NP is the same as an interluded or a buffed AoE NP, which Geronimo has. So Geronimo's AoE damage is actually, when the arts buff is up, greater than it, and when the arts buff isn't up, the same as Medea, but
Exactly.
AoE. So it's like, Medea just sucks.
Yeah, like I think Medea shouldn't even be a caster class. She like her entire kit.
No.
Her-
It's
her entire
see,
kit is just rule breaker. Like she's the weapon.
See,
She's
that's
like a
the thing.
dagger.
that's the thing. All I gotta do is give her a decent NP upgrade, and she's gonna be really solid. Because it's like you
Yeah,
press one
spam
button,
MP, Yeah.
you got her NP. She's pretty easy to like. She has pretty good NP gain.
And she has
like,
a
it's just she's.
flat refund.
It's
yeah.
just
Buff
she
her
does
NP,
half
give
the damage she
30%
should.
MP damage up. But buff it again to actually buffed a single target damage, and give her 30% MP damage
So-
before damage.
so
and
something-
then you're fine.
Something I kind of like the idea of. I kind of like the idea of like giving her some like team-wide charge when she NPs because she gets her own refund. Alternatively, I
Yeah.
also like the idea of like team arts before damage because that helps her own damage and that helps everyone's NP gain. Like, and there's a few things they could do with her.
Rule breaker. Do you know, like, yeah, rule breaker is very good in like Stay Night, but like I thought Ritsuka used rule breaker on Tiamat in Babylonia in the anime. Didn't that happen? Like, dude, rule breaker is so broken. You know what rule breaker should do? Rule breaker should like make all skills dimmed for a turn. You know, like when Krishtaria like dims your fucking, but it doesn't even remove your buffs. It just like
Okay.
deactivates them. Yeah, should deactivate. Okay, I'm joking.
Okay, so we've gotten off topic. I still haven't really said what I wanted to about Asclepius, which is went off talking about like three other casters. Okay, so when this buff came out, I had a pretty negative reaction to this. I even threw out a tweet that some people may have seen, like it was saying it was a negative buff. But I don't think I did a great job of explaining why. So the problem with this is it kind of goes against the gameplay flow that me and a lot of other people used him for. Like some people do use him as just a raw healer and that's it. But oftentimes, like when I'm using him, I'm more straining on value and like I'll have them come through and I'm not in a situation where I'm just gonna like stall out and like live as long as possible. Now this isn't all to say like I want to kill this guy instantly. Like a lot of people got that impression because I spoke very hyperbolically. But what I like about Asclepius is the fact that I can control who's the least likely or who's the most likely to die. And when I'm building a team, that's kind of like one of my prerogatives. It's like I want to have like a clean line through the team of like being able to choose servants that are more likely to die than others because I don't want my DPS to die. And sometimes the way I keep my DPS from dying is by making sure a support dies. So that's my entire problem with the skill. It just makes it kind of, it makes it harder to like guarantee that he dies because like his NP, like it gutses the other members of the team. Then you use this. Now everyone has guts, and like normally I'd want to use that NP just to prevent him, like the entire team, from dying to an AONP. But now he survives it, and I don't have another servant come in to help support. So all three of them are just gonna kind of sit there at low HP. However, something I guess I wasn't too considerate of was just like how you're going to be stabilizing a lot better because of his heal boost.
Yeah. After his
so
guts procs, yeah.
So yeah, he's just not gonna quite function the same way I wanted him to. I was also kind of salty just because they put it on this skill and it's like his best skill in my opinion. Unless taunt C. I'm not gonna put a fucking taunt C on him. Like I want him into NP. Like his NP is like one of the best things about him. Like I can't have him NP and be taunted.
Yeah,
but
his thing is a regen, so the healing boost will help.
Yeah.
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 It just helps them pull back from the brink of death. Like I think like as much as people hate the memorial quest of Burnunos, you can actually try to use him on Burnunos. It is really fun. It is
Yeah.
You just see him control the burn, and then like after you
Yeah,
take like 6,000 burns, he heals you back by
Yeah,
6,000.
I think I was a bit harsh on it. It's just I don't entirely like the play style of just like hyper focusing on staying alive instead of like trying to kill the enemy team. And like oftentimes when I'm using them because I want to sort of reset my team and like clear the debuffs, like get them their NPs, and then the next servant that comes in, they can buff them up, and then we can start doing damage again. I like that, but like this doesn't quite work with this. This works better in sort of a stall setup, because now he's going to be able to help the entire team survive an NP, and he also is able to heal a lot. So the other thing I don't like about this is not only is he robbing like 3-star media, he's also robbing 4-star media. Like people keep talking about how he kills Irisfield. Like this is a bigger hit to Media's like thing, because her thing is being able to just dump massive heals on one target.
I don't think it does though, because the game, it's never been like FGO's massively dumping heals has never really been a great plan in FGO. It's more about mitigation and recovery and like overtime recovery. Like Medea dumping heals once and then being useless for like 5 turns.
I know that's part of her problem. It's not like I was saying I wasn't saying like she was good before this. It's just because she needed something more general use. Like I wanted her to give the team like 30% arts, and now he gets the team arts. And like it's just like Media Lily had this one thing she was good at doing. She was good at controlling debuffs, because her NP always removes them and gives you debuff resistance. And then like she's got like some decent heals too, but now he's got really good burst heal too, because like with her, you target her 3rd skill on one servant, and for that one turn you can give them like I think at NP1 it's like 12 or 14,000 health. It increases with NP level, and you don't even need a CE for that. Well, Well, I mean, she's got 3,000 on her second skill, and I'm not sure if it's 4,000. I think it's like 3 or 4,000 on her NP.
No, it's 6,000 on her MP and MP5. So if you heal boost 100%.
Yeah, I'm talking about NP1.
Then, oh well, MP1's for cowards.
She's story locked and she never gets banners. If you have her at all, it's a miracle.
I don't have her actually.
I don't know if do I have her. Hold on, let me check.
If you're
roll harder, nerd.
If you're a Ryou fan, you might have gotten her because she got on a banner with Saber Ibuki, and she got on a banner, an NA only banner actually, with Ryou. So I have her I have like 800 coins of her. It's gross.
I have her MP4. Checkmate.
I don't have her.
MP4.
Anyway, so
well, good for you, man.
So like I just I don't know. I feel like the buff like really pushes it. Dumping heal. Like I love the first skill is just 10,000 heal, bruh. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like you NP with them, and you use his first skill, and you heal one target for like at least 12,000, up to 16,000. If you overcharge it, it can be up like over 20,000. So it's really ridiculous.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh yeah, it is a
heals.
10,000 heal on one turn.
Yeah,
it's
it's
quite
10,000. Yeah, it's a lot. It's like it's especially good with like I mean you already mentioned it, but like it's just so good with like a guts based survival stuff. Because like the one problem with like guts is like, oh, what's the good of me surviving with guts? I'm just gonna die next turn. Well, no, you're not. You're back to full. Congrats. Like it's just good. I don't know. It's just so good.
Yeah.
I mean, still, it's not like people really always need this kind of stuff, but like when you need it, he's gonna be the best at it, and like without question.
Yeah,
So,
it's good for most players because most players aren't like struggling as much with value, and like when they're using them, they just want them for heals. It's like as far as heals go, he's probably the best healer in the game that actually dedicates heals. But he already was really good.
You know what's really funny about the game code, and this is unrelated to his buff. You see on every skill how it says like cards up for arts. It doesn't say cards up for arts except when one owner doesn't have buff block. But why does guts always have to say guts when owner does not have guts block? Why? Like I think it should be obvious. Like if you have guts block, you aren't getting guts. But like the game feels.
Isn't it
Tez?
No, he has invuln block. I think it's one of the Lost
block?
Belt 7 quests that had guts block. I can't remember which one though, because that's when they started doing it.
Who does have guts block?
yeah, who the fuck has a guts block?
It's a good question. Okay, but anyways, that's enough of Asclepius. Next up, we're talking about Nitocris. So Nitocris got a really simple one. Hers is just like an NP upgrade.
Wait, why not Iskander?
Yeah, I opened them up wrong. Yeah,
Oh.
I got them backwards. So next up is Iskandar, actually. Iskandar did not get an NP upgrade. He already had one. They buffed his charisma, surprisingly. I kind of expected a third skill buff because it's a mana burst, and people don't like mana bursts. But they also
Honestly,
don't like charisma. So
this is a good buff if you have him at level 1.
well,
Now I can just...
well, yeah, but like this is a good buff
I got
in
my
general.
ignore defense.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
No,
This
it is, but no.
Basically what it is, it's it gives
said what
him
this is.
a self 30% battery, and it gives the team a whole ignore defense for 3 turns. So it makes him a little bit like he's able to buster farm now. Yay, whoop-hoo. But he's also able to he also has some utility in like challenge quests and such because defense buffs that are unremovable, they're pretty common, I would say. So like having someone that can actually guarantee that is nice.
Yeah, we don't have this effect before. Other than
I do
home.
think that his there is an argument for using him in a supportive capacity now finally because he does have his tactics is 3-turn tactics. It's 3 turns of 20% MP damage, 30% crit, and now he has 20% attack and ignore defense for 3 turns. Instead of sacrificing your CE for an ignore defense CE or running Sherlock and having to have him NP, you can use Iskander and get pretty good value, like without him having to even NP, like just not as like because ignore defense is only supplied by 2 people. It's Sherlock and him now.
You could also just go to level 50 on him, and you also get 20% MP damage and 30% crit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is like using his second skill.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. What you were saying was kind of boring, so.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Thanks. I mean, Otto, I
was reading
hang
chat.
on every
Okay.
word you say. I make sure to pay special attention just so I can refute you later. But like,
all right.
I don't get the same.
All right, I'm
dignity.
waiting for you to refute me later.
Yeah, I'll refute D's nuts or something. I don't know.
But yeah,
Anyway.
Old man,
That's
you're
great.
too old for this.
I mean, I will say for like most stuff, this is probably more like for esports. But there's another thing, right? That people can actually relate with. Because remember what was the raid boss? For the
Guda
last,
Guda.
the
Yeah, there was a
latest Guda
caster.
Guda.
There was a caster with defense buff. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He would have.
defense buff.
If we
He
get
was
that
really
reran, it'd be really nice.
He's really
but,
good as a support for that. Even if you only have him at MP1, it's probably the best
Yeah.
one. So I don't know. It's just good. Like I like having like this kind of rare effects be in the game
Yeah,
because like it's so rare.
Yeah.
We just don't have this.
And it's better when they give these rare effects to servants that already have other supportive things. Like if his tactics was a self buff only, I think that would really hurt him. But the fact that he has 2 separate
Charisma
party buffs
and
Yeah.
does make it like it's easier to justify using him in place of say like Sherlock or for that type of thing.
So-
like because ignore defense is really strong because the CEs for ignore defense are, 1, they're kind of rare, and 2, they're sometimes not the greatest CEs.
Yeah.
Like let me look at like I think the best one that we have is let me pull up the 5-star
Probably
ones.
that Emil one.
Arguably, it could be the free one.
Like there's the Tez one, which is arts up, ignore defense, and NP damage. That's like
Isn't the-
decent.
Wait, are you talking about the summer one? Because that's Invuln.
Well, there's 2 Tez. Wait, they're both Tez.
both tests.
Hold on.
Yes.
No, there's
We're
2
not talking
Tez
about
Cs.
bondage Tez, right? Because
No, no.
that's ignore
Hold
Invuln.
on. So
That,
there
isn't
is.
that White Day? That's the White Day.
So
one.
yeah, there's White Day, which is ignore defense, 8% arts up, and 15% NP damage. And then there's Summer Break, which is ignore defense, 8% buster up, and increase MP damage 15%. There's going to be a third Tez CE sometime soon. That's going to be 8% quick up, ignore defense, and 15% damage. I
He's
swear.
the ignore defense guy for
He's
some
the ignore
fucking
defense
reason.
guy
Sure.
for some reason. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
You
he
know
has
what?
his own Pierce Invuln, and they're giving him ignore defense for some reason. Maybe they just want you to use that C.
Yeah.
But-
but yeah.
like,
That's
I feel like the best use case for him, at least in my opinion, is like he's better now in like a multi DPS situation, and I'm not just talking about farming because he is great in multi-core now, in my opinion. But like in a multi DPS situation, you can have a boss where you have to deal with like some sort of defense buff, and like you've also got like some AoE stuff going on. So what you'll do, you'll bring him and you'll bring some sort of single target, or you could go with another AoE and you could just dish out NPs more often because you're swapping back and forth between them. And because of his ignore defense, everyone's able to just not get stopped by defense, which is really nice.
Yeah, I mean, and at the very least, it gives himself ignore defense if you want to do
Oh,
single
yeah.
core. It still helps.
Oh yeah, which is a good reason to buff Drake, because I love that Drake got this buff. Because they literally they put Buster on her second skill, and gave her ignore defense for 3 turns. Now Iskandar does it too. He doesn't have Pierce Invuln, but like I still feel like she needs something more to stand out now. Like
Probably.
they could give her like crits, like
How
good
is
crit
his-
damage would be cool.
Someone asked how his MP damage is. I'm gonna look at the.
Isn't his
Buster.
Oh
MP
yeah,
damage
his
already
NP
cheap?
damage. Yeah, his NP damage is like in a vacuum. I think he has the highest AoE NP damage without any sort of
So-
traits.
4 riders, as far as Buster AoE riders, he's the
probably
highest.
Yeah.
Buster. He beats Ivan against lawful or chaotic.
Yeah, it sounds
think-
about right.
I think
so.
I think he-
Ivan fans in shambles right now. So I mean,
yeah, it's just like he has 20% attack, he has 20% NP damage, and then he has 50% Buster and an upgraded NP. Like, he is really hard hitting. Like, that is like the best thing about him in a lot of ways. And the fact that, like, that's all he's needed, really. He's only needed a battery all of this time because he just couldn't get his NP as easily as other people. So that's part of why I think he's actually quite solid in multi-core. It's just the fact that he has really high damage of his own. Like, you don't have to, like, throw a bunch of other buffers in. He can probably clear the wave anyways because he's hitting, like, 40k neutral.
Well, you want to know the worst thing though about all this with Ivan and between him and Ivan?
What?
Is Iskander for 3-turn is Vich double Oberon, which normally has terrible turn 2 damage, but his turn 2 is still better than Ivan with double Vich.
Damn.
Ivan just can't catch a break. What's he gonna do?
PG loop. I mean that's Vich double Oberon though. I don't know about that, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that's some weird stuff. But yeah, that's I feel like that's kind of all that we got to say about this guy for now. But now we can go back to Nitocris, another
Big fan.
another
Buff.
Egyptian person, more or less. Him more or less than yeah, you know. He was considered a pharaoh, wasn't he?
Yes, that's why they were paired
Yes.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. But yeah, Nitocris, she got an NP upgrade. It's kind of a basic one. They added 2 effects to it aside from the increased scaling. They added Skill Seal, and they added Shore Field. So like now there's 5 turns of Water Side, and it's actually linked to the stage. It's not like a buff on her. So it applies kind of like Ark's Millennium Field. It's really weird. But
She is the second character that has this.
Yep.
The only.
yeah, and she doesn't even get anything out of it.
Runestead. It's Arcoade Runestead, which is anniversary servant supposed to like generate the most hype as possible, and then there's fucking Nitocris, who is like Among Us.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot. Obviously, there's this one other really important thing. They made it so the instant death is after damage, right? That's hugely important.
That's the big actual change. Yeah, that's
the
the
actual
change.
big change. I thought you were leading up to it, not that you forgot.
Yeah, I actually did kind of forget. Damn, there's one of those ones you can get me for, but I already caught myself,
Yeah.
so it's too late.
No, you're 5,000 years shame to you.
But yeah,
well, you'd know every single one of those 5,000 years, huh? You fucking fossil.
Her looping damage, I think at MP2 is already on par with Summer Vows if we don't count trades, which is
Okay.
I think that deserved for MP upgraded character.
I was doing the math the other day. Yeah, like, if you get her like NP3 or more, unless you're against Earth, she's out damaging Valks. And like the one thing that they have over her is like
a bloody mistake. I hate every time any character comes up, it's always like except against Earth, and it's like why? I hate Earth was a mistake.
Yeah. But like if you got her NP5, I'd say she's just generally gonna be a better looper than the Valks. But like that hinges on NP5, like NP5 usage. That's generous a lot of the time.
She's pretty rare.
Who has NP5 Nito assassin? I don't.
She's pretty fucking rare. I mean, you can fix that. Wait, is she still on right up?
She is. Maybe I don't want to roll her though. Who's she with? Isn't it?
She's with I think she's with Ptolemaeus, is it?
Oh,
yeah, because I wanted to get her NP2 on my ult, but I got him as Zed. So
he's pretty good.
Look,
yeah,
I'm not gonna like invest. If I was gonna like be a psychopath in 120 every Nito, I probably would, but I like Nito Alter. I like Nito. I don't like Nito enough to do that.
Yeah.
So
but I mean, this is a great buff.
So one more thing. A lot of people dislike skill seal because it means you get attacked more. I actually like it with her because she has a self
Yes.
taunt, which means that
Yes.
she's going to get attacked more, and that means she's more likely to loop, even on a turn where you don't have cards. So that's pretty nice. And she
Yeah,
also has
there's-
like the NP gain buff, so that's even better. She's gonna get a lot
Yeah.
of defensive gain.
She
basically,
has
like-
very little attack buffs though on herself,
She-
unfortunately.
she's like, yeah.
Eh,
I mean, she's basically like
30%.
passion lip in terms of that play style. You know, the big HP taunt with the big defense. Not big HP, like big taunt with the big defense. You just combo them in the same turns. It's like very reminiscent of passion lip, at least in my opinion. And then like it's great. I think it's a great buff. And like just makes her like all she does is loop MP, and then wow, then now that's good. You know.
Yeah.
There you go.
And she ramps because she's got the defense debuff. So her damage actually isn't really that bad.
Yeah, in a boss fight she'll be fine.
A lot
I
of
mean, I don't know
upgrade
how-
MPs. Like honestly, it's I like
Yeah,
seeing
this year's buffs is way better than last year. Last year it didn't feel like we got like last year. What was it? It was Saber Altar. That was the only like cool buff. Everything else kind of sucked.
That wasn't
like,
even
okay.
like the campaign.
that. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, was it? I thought
Yeah,
it was
Saber was
earlier
the
towards the
anniversary
beginning
buffs.
of the year.
No,
Saber
Oh
Altar was
wait,
the
no,
anniversary
no,
buff.
right.
Yeah.
I remember now. Never mind. I remember for a reason, and I don't feel like sharing it. Anyways, next up we got Abby, and single target one that
Oh,
is.
God.
This
Okay,
one
this
I
is
think
good.
is like pretty interesting. Like her buff is not like it's not complex or anything, but they changed 3 things. So before it was a 7-turn cooldown, 3-turn attack buff of 20%, and also charge drain 1 enemy. It's still 1 enemy for both of those, but now she's also got a 20% battery. It's 1 turn cooldown lower, so it's 6, which is kind of normal now. And then also she has a 100% special attack buff against terror and like enemies that have terror for 1 turn, which
Disgusting.
which is
wish
a
this
lot.
had been 3 turns. Look,
It
they can give
can't-
Scott
Yeah.
3 turns.
No,
give
the
Scott
more I
3
look,
turns.
no. The
Look,
more I look at
yeah,
it, I think it can't be
like-
3 turns. Like, I thought it could be. The more I look at it, it can't. It
Yeah,
cannot be fucking
once you
3
look
turns.
at like the other things, like once you look at the summation of the parts, you can see why it's good that it's only 1 turn, because like she already has some pretty good damage. She was already like one of the top damage single
Yeah,
target
but-
foreigners out there.
What about you then? If it's 3 turns, then you just put her in a team with Van Gogh, and now she's dumpstering everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's part of
stupid.
why.
That's why. Look,
that's why
your
not
balancing
to.
is ignored.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. Of course, we want the children.
But
No,
anyway,
keep
no,
up.
okay.
no.
Keep going. I
Okay,
shoot my
so-
shot. I'm so sorry.
So here's the thing that I think is like the coolest about this. So Abby, like I already liked her NP because she had a buff removal on it. It's really nice, but aside from that, she didn't really stand out all that much. Now, as far as trait list 1-turn damage goes, she has the highest in a vacuum of anyone. And like you might say like, okay, well it's only 1 turn, but then you look at who's below her. You got Enkidu who has a mana burst. You got Musashi who has a mana burst. You got Jalter who has a mana burst. You got did I say
Where's Scott higher? Oh,
Kentucky?
Scott's traded.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
all of these servants are 1-turn bursts too, and now she has a 1-turn burst, and hers is actually like more powerful than a lot of them.
So, I mean, regarding this, I mean, like, I'm not saying you should always listen to media, but like in terms of farming, I think he is good. He's like he knows a lot of his shit, and then. Like
Except
I remember
when it comes down to speed. If they're not fast enough, then they're dead to me.
Yeah,
According to
but
Abby,
his stream title when this buff happened is Kintoki with spread charge. That's his verdict on Abby.
Yeah,
Is Kintoki with spread charge, which I mean honestly, like it's not as the damage is not as good as Kintoki, by the way, like obviously, but like
yeah.
that's
So-
not wrong. That's not wrong. That's scary. That is
Yeah.
scary. I
So-
I definitely can see her in multi-core.
So what he's talking about with that, in case you guys aren't familiar with her, so she has a 30% self battery already, and then charge per turn for the entire team of 10%, and then also 30% MP damage for the whole team. And now she has the extra 20%, so she's effectively a 50% charger, which could scale up to a 70% if you're using her for Wave 3. So that means you can just give her 10% charge if you got her second pin maxed, and then bam, like you got a Wave 3 like
Imagine
big
if they
bump.
interluded her MP.
They're not going to at this point.
God,
Like,
dude, if they did,
There's,
Also,
there's,
oh my,
there's no
Am
way they're
I
going to
the
do it at
only-
this point.
I keep saying it, and I know I need to stop. I keep saying interluded instead of buffing. Like, I can't help myself from saying it. People know what I
Interlude-
mean, but like,
Yeah, interlude isn't a verb, so
I mean, it
right?
is a-
Why do I
it's
keep
kind of
saying
not a
it
thing
though?
anymore. I
don't
mean,
know.
because
Well,
back in the day, that's called MP interludes. That's how
Yeah,
they
they were.
upgrade them.
That's how they upgrade was.
yeah, it's
interludes,
even
right?
harder to say than buff.
Right, but it's
Interlude.
ingrained from 8 years ago, back when the only time they buffed NPs was in an interlude. So an MP would get interluded, which you know I'm not the only person that's said that. Like,
Yeah.
if,
Well-
like 6 years ago, if you search NP, you know what servants need an MP interlude to be good is the first result. You know, and post from 2017, what if Merlin had an MP interlude? You know, people referring to things as NP interludes. Like I guess I'm just stuck in
You're
the
so
past.
old-fashioned.
I mean,
Just
you're not
stuck
wrong
in
with
the
that, though.
past.
But
Now
yeah,
they
I'm-
buff NPs anywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, the Abby has what 50 battery now?
Yes.
50
Future is
battery.
now old, man.
That's split in two halves, and she has charge per turn, so it's actually more than 50.
Now-
And she deals the highest neutral damage out of the, like, what the fuck?
Here's the thing.
It's just nice.
Is there any? Unfortunately, like it's 10 per turn, which means like in a multi-core setup, you're only getting 20. But what if you pair with
Tonalico.
Tonalico, who also has 10
Yeah,
per turn?
fucking knew it.
But what if Tonalico? Every team comp with me is that's a
So
nice
the other
servant.
servant
what
that
if I
got
use
buffed on this
Tonalico with
day
them?
was Billy the Kid, and he got an incredibly good buff. Like
Honk
his,
schnoo.
it's like everything that he was missing. So what he was missing was he didn't have a good steroid for his NP. He had an NP upgrade, but like he didn't have anything to make good with it. And then he didn't really have a good way of making stars because he's got 2-hit quicks. It's yikes.
I
But-
don't think that if I wanted to, there's one thing I would change about this that I think would make it better is change the quick up to MP damage, because if you're using them with Scotty,
I mean, but that's
you're
what
already
Scott-
Well-
you're already getting
well,
attack and
It's
That's
you
what
also have
Scotty-
to take into consideration that in a lot of teams, quick is like one of the hardest buffs to get. So this actually turns out being better in a lot of situations, because like the more frequent types of buffs you're gonna see is like crit buffs and attack buffs. It's just like it's specifically if you're using servants like Scotty to support him. The hardest buff is NP gain effort. I'm talking about offensive buffs here, okay? There's just not very many servants that apply quick buffs. But yeah, I like it. I like that. It also kind of
it's
helps
fine.
his quick crit damage a little bit. But like, I mean, the guy has like 120% crit on his first skill. They also increased the amount of crit damage on this skill. It used to be 32%. Now it's 3 turns at 50%. And then he also has a crit passive that's like 12%.
32% early year FGO, where the numbers
10%.
just made no sense.
So he has 180%
You're like-
self crit.
Yep. Yeah, do that with normal Scotty, and his quick cards are what? It's 100%, so like 380% self crit or 380% quick crit. You know, it's decent, I guess. I think it's a fine buff for him. I don't know how many people are dying to use I think people like look at low rarity buffs and they're super cool, but if it's on a low rarity DPS, like the
I mean,
actual usability is
Okay, okay, this is the wrong buff to be saying that. You're
that's
not
Charlotte.
wrong, but this is the wrong one to make that point on.
no,
But
but
you'll
like,
have your
how
chance
many
though.
people? So if you are going for an archer and you're looking like,
Yeah,
I would,
Psycho. I
I
know.
think most people take
Yeah,
Psycho
Okay,
as a
yeah.
welfare.
well, see, one of the big appeals he has is the fact that he has a 50% battery. Like everyone has him, you can have a 50% battery on him. That's pretty nice. And then, like, of course, Psycha is really good and all, but like, you can get his NP a lot easier.
Hero's free.
Yeah, but like, who cares about her? Ew. Why are you
Okay.
recommending her? It's
Look, you
sus.
said 50% battery. I'm just bringing up other 50% battery archers, and this one's free.
Yeah,
Fair.
but she doesn't do crits as good.
I think that's fair, but like, you know, it's just a welfare problem. You know, like I'm not saying this is like super game changing, but I think at least for what he is, this is already really good because like the entire skill plays into his playstyle where, you know, like you don't need any external things as well. This is another thing I liked about the skill. The skill gives you the stars, gives you the absorb to use the stars, gives you the quick up for the MP as well as the card damage and star gen, and it also gives you the crit up. Like it's just everything all in one. Like
It
everything you want
does-
to do with him, it's all in one skill. So I think it is really nice. But
It does help in things like tower events, which I wish we had more of. I wish we had more tower events because
I
then
disagree. I fucking
these
hate
type
tower
of
events.
things, I love tower events because tower events are the one time when like having a wide roster of servants is actually helpful, and that's when these like low rarity ones actually get like some practical use because you
Oh.
can't just, you know,
I like
dump
the
your high
idea.
rarity.
I like the idea of tower events, but like most of them are just like what one wave AOE, and then you don't even want to use single targets on them. I think like if
Not
there's
if, you,
another,
not
there's
if you
another.
make a stream out of going through the entire tower in one
Well,
go.
yeah, but I think
Content.
I think if there's
Ugh.
another ORT style fight, then yeah, I agree.
Oh,
Like,
NRT.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be good too.
Yeah.
Dude, if they had like a monthly cycle thing, like a monthly tower that was always there that you could go up for rewards and you could only use a servant once, like at all, there was like no cooldown period. That's something they should build in. Like just like a
Yeah.
monthly tower of like 100 floors you got to climb up
Yeah, I
and
don't.
for
Yeah.
rewards.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool idea, and it just fills in the dead time. But I really hope they do it, but they're not gonna do it. But
Okay, so
sorry.
let's move on to another really solid one. James Moriarty, someone who wasn't on my bingo card. Ironically, I had Sherlock on my bingo card because not my bingo card, but I predicted him because he had a banner. But no, Moriarty got a buff, and it was a really good buff. So they buffed his NP. Art's Servant getting an NP buff is always just like really good for them. His looping was kind of meh, like as far as 3-turn farming looping, just because his refund wasn't that good. But you could manage it, it just wasn't worthwhile on damage. But basically what they did was they turned him into Spishtar. Like his NP damage buff, it was 1 turn, now it's 3 turns. So if you use his NP 3 turns in a row, you get 60% NP damage on wave 3. So yeah, this is just a really good buff because he also has anti-trait against good. So like from a farming perspective, this is an incredibly good buff. And yeah, like he's not just utility. He's a lot of things now. I already liked his gameplay a lot because like being able to crit with an art stack and like even if his NP refund wasn't that great, the fact that he has the art stack means that he's constantly carding and getting his NP from that.
Yeah, and it's an MP upgrade too. It's just like
Mm.
that's a huge damage increase.
Yeah. I ran a lot of these numbers already. If you can make him work, he is better numbers than Spishtar. His wave 3 is actually better than even Summer Kama. With her
Let me
charm.
upgrade MP. That makes sense.
Yep, upgraded NP. Yeah, just some pretty freaking great stuff. I'm not sure if the frontline only, like plugless. I'm not sure if that's enough for him to beat Speshtar. Or not Speshtar. Yeah, he does beat Speshtar, and he doesn't. I'm not sure if he beats Kama though.
He probably has trouble looping plugless. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's like his biggest issue, honestly. It's just you gotta like, if you're gonna be doing what I do with Summer Ibuki, which is like you use both the Castoria's second skills and you use his third skill, and then just go with the Castoria first skill on both of them, you're going to be pretty tight on refund. It's not going to work on Berserkers, but really, it's not that bad, because like you can just throw in any other sort of charge support. Like I put on Casgil, it works fine.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it here, and I'm running, like, because I was running the numbers to like see how he compares to like the Melusine and stuff like that. And no, he still does less than Melusine, but I don't know. Like,
what are you using Melusine with?
Oh wait, hold on. Actually, I forgot one last thing. I forgot something. I'm doing the exact same setup I've been using. Oh wait, never mind. He might do more than Melusine now.
He should do more. I mean,
yeah,
it's
like, what's the setup though?
It is so. Oh yeah, more than not more than Melusine, but about the same. The setup is double Castoria Oberon with a single Castoria MP. It's the same setup I've been using for comparing all three of these, because it is like the maximum damage setup in like a reasonable, like, normal setup. And yeah, that puts him when he's like true neutral at like 2.7 million across 3 enemies, which is
his arts down.
Yes, that is counting the arts down. So like that's still like slightly less than Ruler Melusine. Melusine has
I'm guessing you're going high NP levels.
yes,
Okay.
I'm doing all these
If it's-
at 120 MP5.
Yeah,
full
if you're
focus.
doing 120 NP5,
True.
it's not going to benefit him as much because
because NP
because
upgrades
NP
skill work.
yeah, if you're running NP1 numbers, yeah, he definitely wins.
Probably,
I've done that math.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it here. So, so for all of those who have MP5 Melusines, don't need to worry. Melusine is still, because the thing is for Moriarty, he has the MP ramp up, but Melusine also has NP in her kit. So
What do you need to defend this title? He can't even fucking loop half the things.
Yeah, he can. He can loop.
Yeah,
He loops just fine on 333. With Oberon, with swap Oberon, he loops fine.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
let's
that's
not-
what I mean.
look,
That's what I mean.
it's not that hard to get him. It's not that hard to get him to 3-turn loop. Okay, it's not like you're locked to 3-3x. Like you can make do with like 3-1x.
Ryoma. Isn't it similar to Lancer?
Yeah,
Ryoma?
it's
He
sort of
also
like
has
that,
it.
I
about the
think.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought I'd mention to defend Melusine more.
Yeah,
I
of course.
gotta look. I have to defend my honor.
No need
Yeah,
to
you have to
worry,
defend the
she's
little
still-
girl from the
Melusine-
filthy man.
Look, you have to understand. There's a content creator out there who's gonna have a 120 Moriarty ruler, and they already have a 120 Ibuki Berserker, and I gotta I gotta win this competition.
There's gonna be a
So
TA
why are you
with it,
not?
Melusine.
Why is I not even mention anything about Ibuki then?
Here's the other thing. I mean, we haven't gone to that buff, but today is the first time ever I wish Melusine was a child trade servant. Like, holy shit. Anyway, I keep going.
Oh no!
Like,
Plus,
That-
you wishes Melusine was a child. More at 11.
yes, well, it's one of the buffs.
Oh no!
That would have made her great.
You're also when when you say that, you're also like you're conceding the point of her not being a child.
She's not a child. Yes, thank
not
you
a
for
child.
agreeing with me finally.
In the game,
Yeah,
she's
but
not
you
a
see-
child, unfortunately.
But you see, if you concede that, it's harder to make fun of him for it.
yeah,
Why?
but
Why do you have to make fun of me for?
maybe
Because
I don't
it's
want to make
funny.
Fun of
Like
him,
I want to laugh at you,
I'm
dude.
joking.
Like of course.
maybe I don't want to make fun of you.
Otter, you'll slip up, and there'll be something I can make fun of you for that wouldn't be actually that wouldn't cancel me on the internet, because like I can just make up mean things to say, but that doesn't mean it's true.
I mean,
True.
like
But
you're not
I'm
really
such a
doing
person
much
that
to
any mean
disprove
thing I try to
yours.
think up to say will only be like so horrible it's gonna get me canceled.
But yeah, I mean,
Just remember the egg. No.
egg?
We're gonna talk about
Yeah.
this egg actually. She's got some sort of like egg-shaped spirit.
she does have a. Like,
She
an
does
angel.
not lay eggs though.
Yeah, and it's
Like,
got lips in that ascension, which is fucking whack. But anyways, Charlotte is arguably the biggest loser out of all these buffs. So her buff isn't outright bad. Her third skill used to be like 33% chance of any of the following effects, and like only one of them. It used to be 30% arts, or 50% crit, or 50% NP damage. Generally, you only wanted the arts or the NP damage. Like, basically, the only situation where I could see wanting the arts instead of the NP damage is because you wanted to help her out with gains a little bit. But what they changed is, man, they could have just made it so she had all three, and it wouldn't have been crazy. But now it's either,
It should have been that.
yeah, like you choose
That was my
between them.
prediction.
Like,
Yeah.
you either get the 30% arts, 50% crit, or 50% NP damage. The crit is useless. That is part of why it was a bad skill, because you had a 33% chance of getting her 50% crit, and she's a 1-star who does no crit damage. 1-star assassin, even.
And they fucking pushed the crit part because they gave her Star Bomb.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I feel like the star bomb isn't really that offensive, though. It's
For-
sort of
for
like,
gain. I guess.
yeah, it's sort of for gains, I guess. But yeah, you basically always you're gonna be wanting to go for the NP damage, because like she's a 1-star. Like the only thing she's gonna be doing worth a damn is NP damage if she does NP damage.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. She's still, like, if you look at spreadsheets, you'll see that her damage is indeed above some of the 3-stars, but it's also hinging on like this 1-turn attack buff here. Once that's gone, it's just not as good. Like, it's more of a fix. It's like they took a skill that was not good and they made it a decent skill.
I mean, if you're using,
should have
like,
already
if
been that
for
way.
some reason you've invested in her and you're pushing like 50% MP damage, is Oberon comes 100%. You know, not 50% MP damage is never a bad thing to have. So like the other two effects are kind of useless though. You will never select anything else. But MP damage.
You're essentially just making it 50% MP damage up instead.
I mean, but changing the skill to a guaranteed 50% MP damage, not the worst buff. I think I think it's the worst buff out of all the buffs we got, but I don't think it's a bad buff.
Yeah,
I don't think there were any like objectively bad or pointless buffs this year.
I agree. Like it's not like it's a horrendous thing. It's a step in the right direction for her, but like I feel like it's not very high impact because her total value is still not really that great. I do like her utility side. Like she removes evade, she has pierce invul, and she ignores defense. That's like the best use case I see with her. But then you've also got Shiki, who does the exact same thing basically.
Yeah.
Because she has pierce invul for a turn. It's actually better uptime.
I mean, Ryogi Shiki ruining fucking assassins.
Ryogi ruining single target assassins since
Yeah.
2017.
And you know,
Yeah.
you know what's hilarious? For a new player, it's actually easier to get Shiki because
It is.
from experience, it's harder to get an NP5 1-star from FP than it is to complete 2 singularities and get NP5 of any welfare.
Oh yeah, because you don't have them. You don't have like that big bunch of frem points if you start the game.
Well, I mean, you get like
single
you do
target.
get a lot of friend points really fast. It's just like you're still like getting NP5 on any one thing is really hard. Like yeah, like I did a speedrun account thing and I never finished it, but like getting a lot of FP was kind of difficult.
Yeah.
I will say, like, single target assassin kind of is a terrible, like the single target assassin, the gulf between some of them. Like, okay, so we have, you know, any low rarity just has almost no purpose. Then we have Jack, who's mid. MHX is okay. Ryogi is really good. King Hassan is a different gameplay style.
Thank fuck
like,
them buffing. Jesus.
yeah, like Kama arguably still is the best single target assassin.
In my opinion,
But-
yes, because of the charm. I mean, her charm should be 500%, but you know. What?
I'll
Dude,
still
charm
argue
is
that
worse than-
MHX is.
yeah,
I still argue that MHX is good though.
Charm is worse than stun. Monte Cristo is 500% stun,
Yeah,
so
but
her
she-
charm should be 500%.
but when she's not charming them, she's still like not taking much damage because she can counterclass. Like she has
Monte
self
Cristo
heal.
can fight. He can fight rulers. There you go.
Ah, yeah, all of those rulers that have the high HP that you really need to bring an Avenger for.
Yes, in like main story or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
We've definitely seen more extra classes. Anyway.
Anyways, Charlotte's still not doing that great. She's a little bit better now. She's still a 1-star DPS, so in the jail cell she remains. It looks like a jail cell. I don't think it is, because she has books in there, and it'd be a weird jail cell to... I don't know. I don't know much about it. I don't care about the French. But anyways, next up is
He hates the
Hokusai.
French. Hokusai's buff is good.
Yeah.
I am
Hold
on the
on.
record of.
Hold on. Let's walk through it. No one knows what it is yet.
Well, before you show it, let me tell you. I on stream said that if I was gonna buff her, what I would do is give her 20% arts up for 3 turns and 30% NP gain up for 3 turns on an MP buff. Now
Yeah,
show
for
what
3
they gave
turns,
her.
that's a little... That's ridiculous for the NP gain buff to be 3 turns.
That was what I wanted.
Yeah, that would have been just way too much, but they gave almost that. They buffed her NP. Now, before her NP activates, she gets 30% NP gain for 1 turn, and then she also applies 20% arts resist down on the enemy for 3 turns, so it can actually snowball on challenge quest.
I
And
did
it's...
want her to ramp up, but she didn't on farming. But unfortunately, she doesn't.
I actually kind of prefer this in ways, because when you're in a challenge quest, what this means is you're actually increasing the NP gain of your supports. Because if they're using Earth Chains, they're getting like plus 20%, plus 40% gain from it. And then also, since she's got the NP gain buff, she gets so much charge from her arts cards. She already had really good arts cards because they were 6 hit, 0.33%, so they were already
But her
2%
NP was
basically.
not great at refunding, unfortunately.
See, that's actually something kind of interesting, because like I always heard that a lot. It's just under 5%, and there's like a decent amount of servants that actually have that. Like Kyokute Bakken, for example, she has like I want to say like 4.5 or something. But the thing is, like, she gets away with it because she's always up against casters, and then she has 50% arts. But Hokusai only had 30% arts, so I'm assuming that's the main
As someone
reason
with
why.
a 100 Hokusai, who started playing FGO again because of Hokusai. Fun fact. Yeah, that's why I started playing FGO. After I played it for a little bit when it first came out, I'm like, this is terrible, and I dropped it. And I saw Hokusai, and I'm like, I like this character. I'm gonna play this garbage game again. But yeah, she doesn't really. It was kind of a problem. I'm gonna be honest. Her MP game wasn't the greatest. 30% for 1 term, fixes it. You know, for the most part.
Yeah. I've also like attempted to do some solos with her in like advanced quests. She just never stops NPing, even against only 1 enemy, because she's got the 3-turn absorb on her arts cards as well. And if you always have arts cards coming up, and you're always making like a little bit of stars, they're always going to those arts cards, and you're always like getting these ridiculous, like you got a 2.6% card. Like an arts card has like, let's see, it would be over 4% actually, just with a single NP, because she's got 30% arts, then another 20%, so that's going up to a 3% arts card. Then 1.3 times that, it's almost 4%. So it's really good. I'd love to mess around with her a bit more, but like, she has absolutely booty cheeks mats. Like, I can't get her past like
Do I ever maxed out
3 or
NA
2,
or
whatever.
JP? Oh, okay.
Also,
I have her in JP. She
also-
is NP1. Never mind.
Also, it is such a pain in the ass to test anything now on FGO because, like, I don't know, every now and then they make some updates and the game just freezes up when you're selecting servants. Apparently, I'm not the only person that has it happen.
Oh no, that happens to me. All the time.
But, like, I don't
Since
like
the update.
waiting an extra 7 seconds every single time. It is terrible, and it makes me not want to stream FGO, honestly. It's just like, I
Not
spend
that.
so much
How often do you change servants?
pretty often. Like, a lot of my content is like
Yeah.
I'll build
It's
teams
very
and such.
It's very fucking annoying. Like I was like,
I don't
just
farm a
testing
lot
out
on
stuff.
stream. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, it's annoying, yeah, but it's a couple seconds. I mean, like
it's
I can deal
7
with it.
seconds. If I'm putting out 6 or 5 servants, that's over 30 seconds. That's over half a minute I waste doing nothing.
Oh, your time's not that valuable.
I mean, like it's annoying if I like go to it and I'm like, okay, I want to put this character in this slot, and then I click the button and then I wait for 7 seconds and I'm like, ugh. And by the time I get to the character select screen, I'm angry and I've already forgotten who I was gonna put there.
That may be an anger issue. I'm gonna be honest.
No, it's a memory issue, honestly. I don't know what the fuck it is with my brain, but I like it doesn't carry water sometimes. I don't know what it is, but I still consider myself a smart person though. Anyways, let's go on to red hair. So this I would say it's not a terrible buff, it's just not a particularly like he has some real issues. But let's get into those. So they buffed his second
Issues
skill.
as a horse.
Of course. So like 1 turn evade on his second skill, that was guaranteed. He also had an 80% chance, like 3 80% chances, actually 2, because one of those is the enemy one. One is star weight, which is like whatever, he's a rider. And the other is 1 turn of pierce invuln, which is pretty cool.
Oh, it was random?
Yeah, like pierce invuln is really nice, but like yeah, RNG, like ew.
I didn't know his skills were random.
But they changed it up, and now the pierce invuln is actually 3 turns. It is not RNG. The star weight is also 3 turns, not RNG, although it's still not really that useful. Especially now that he's making stars per turn and has a star bomb. So he makes 15, and then the next 3 turns he makes 15. So, good shit. Like, he's always making stars. It's on a 5-turn cooldown, so he basically always has stars. And he also has a low cooldown evade. Just the biggest problem, though, is his other 2 skills are just still bad. Like, his quick is 3 times 5 turns of 30%.
Disgusting.
Stargen is
I
3
hate-
times 5 turns of 50%. That is the only hit-based Stargen effect that I can think of in the entire game. And then the 30% crit,
despise hit
3
based.
times 5 turns. 20% attack, 3 times 5 turns. It's really dumb. So... But, like, I mean, like, it's NP. It ignores defense. Skill seal's like, whatever. But, like, ignores defense, ignores invuln. That's a nice combo. It's just his damage isn't really that great because everything's so short-lived, basically. So if they buff this skill to be like 5 turns, or this skill to be 5 turns and add some other effect to it, I think he'd actually be pretty solid. This is a weird case where it's like, it's a pretty good buff on not a very good skill. But
I'm
the
not a very good
problem,
servant.
yeah, the problem is like he's someone that wants more than 1 buff to fix him. and they
I
only
don't
gave
know
him
what they're
one.
doing when they're building this guy's kit. Like I'm gonna be honest. I've never really looked at him very much. Like,
I mean,
It's like-
it's a lot of hit-based stuff. Like that's what people don't like about him, right? But like honestly, it's like he's more of a card-centric crit DPS, and now he has the ability to ignore invul, and it's like it's great that it's not tied to his MP, right? So I mean, I don't know. It's the buff in a vacuum is great, but yeah, like you said, the servant itself is not great. So
I like how he has. How if you look at the wiki, he has different skills for MP6, but they're the same thing, just with a different name.
What?
Yeah, on the wiki. If you look at Red
Oh.
Hair, his skills all have different like versions based on like his skill 2 is called Lucky Fairy instead of various martial arts. It's just like it's just an LB6 thing. He has a completely different skill names, but they're the same skills.
Okay, that's what you're talking about, right? Because it was quote unquote a different servant, right?
Yeah, it's not the same person.
Sort of like Percival's thing.
Yeah.
Boogie yapping. Yeah, we do that a lot on here. We do yap
wonder if-
a lot.
That reminds me. I wonder if Percival's going to be involved in the story. I wonder if
I mean,
What if
he
they're gonna-
has to.
I wonder if they're going to
Yeah.
pull a Habitron and have him have like for some reason like somehow LV6 knowledge so he can.
No more Lost Belt 6. Okay, we are done with Lost Belt 6. We are done unless it's Murian, I guess. Like no, we're done with Lost Belt anyway.
You see, that's the thing. We're never.
I'm
done
invoking
with
her.
Lost.
Wait,
with
I
Lost
don't
Belt
want her for
6.
summer. Or
See,
do I?
During this summer, there is definitely going to be some point where we run into a couple of the Lost Belt 6 characters and have a Lost Belt 6 moment. It's not going to be important or
She's
anything.
gonna lose it.
It's just like we're gonna like run into Bob and Morgan or something.
I'm not even
like that.
gonna lose it. It just has to like. It's not gonna make me lose this as hard if it's fucking Tsukihime. You know, like just. There you go. But anyways.
Anyways, we got the last two, right? This
Ah,
happened this
Merlin.
morning. Oh
dude.
boy.
This dude.
You want to
Yeah,
talk about
honestly-
the other one first and just close off on
Yeah,
Merlin?
let's
Sure,
finish with
sure.
Merlin,
Yeah,
this piece
okay.
of trash.
So they also buffed Nursery Rhyme, and I actually got both of these buffs
She's
right,
gonna
and
commit a
a lot of
crime.
people apparently didn't guess both. But what they
Nurture Rhyme's
did,
buff is good.
yeah, they took her morph skill, which was 30% defense for a turn, 30% defense for 3 turns, and then debuff resist to 40%, which honestly I don't think is that bad of a skill. It's nice uptime on decent survival. But it is nice to buff something like that because it's because what they did, they gave her 3 turns of 30% arts. They gave her 20% charge for child servants and 20% NP damage for fairy tale servants, both of which applies to her unless you're the nursery rhyme
Ineffectual.
in Plushie's video that was in the book form.
Okay.
And she didn't get the charge because of that. You have to put her in her second or third now if you want full effects.
This is what I mean by the Melusine child thing, because she is fairy tale for some fucking reason.
Well,
What- why should-
the Melusine is like from a fairy tale in
But the
France.
Melusine lays egg. I'm sorry.
No, it's the snake woman.
Oh, yeah, that's why she lays eggs.
Fairy tale is such a small grouping of servants. It is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's,
Uh,
it's not bad though. Like,
It-
but
there's
it's
some
like
good
very
like
few things
multiple.
affect it.
There's good
and, like,
multicore
I
ones like
don't-
Benkei.
I don't,
He
I don't
gets
know,
NP damage.
Benny
Yeah.
is pretty good.
Yeah, Benny Enma
Yeah.
is both child and fairy tale. Both
Which is
Kentokis
weird.
are fairy tale. That's pretty nice.
My question is, in what
Ryder
situation
Liz.
are you using? Well, that's the thing is like for fairy tale servants, there's how often? I mean, I guess with Benny and Nursery Rhyme, there is a multi-core argument
Yeah.
between those two now. Because
Yeah.
like they benefit each other because they're both spread charge, they're both
Yeah.
arts. One's AoE, one's single target. So I can definitely see you building a team there now.
There's
I will
also
say so
there's
far,
also
Beniam is the only one that I feel like is really good. I think the other ones are kind of
there's
whatever.
also Voyager. I kind of like
Oh,
that
true,
combo.
Voyager.
I was actually farming with that combo this
I
morning.
don't like pairing AoEs together.
True. Yeah,
But-
single target AoE
Well,
is like.
yeah,
pushing
I
it.
get that, but like you can also just do like some generic free quest shit without any starting
yeah.
charge at all.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because that's what I was doing. I was using Voyager, I was using Nursery Rhyme, and I was using Beniema. And all three of them get all three of their charge, and they don't need any starting charge. And it is just enough damage for the XP quest.
So what, a 3-3-1 node?
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah,
I mean, but I think this is a good buff.
it's better
like
than what she was
Nursery-
doing before. She couldn't
Nursery
do it before.
Crime, or Nursery Rhyme, dang. Nursery Crime. Nursery Rhyme going to commit some crimes with her new buff there. She's going to go rob a liquor store or something.
But she's got pretty normal damage now. She's still lower damage than Kazgil, and I'd say that Kazgil's just generally better. But to be fair, she does have a little bit more charge than him. Like for
80%?
herself, she has 60%, and
Well,
it's
if you
also
have a pen,
split.
though, it's 80 starting. So
Yeah.
then you only need a 20% spread, and you're golden.
So I think
Ooh.
she's like okay for damage now. She's still like an AoE caster, and all AoE casters are scuffed in that regard. But
At least it wasn't Neurocaster that got buffed. Thank heavens.
yeah,
Actually, Neurocaster already got buffs, by the way. Neurocaster can double cast her stupid 50% attack up. She has 160% attack up in her kit now with double Vitch. It's dumb.
Isn't it one turn?
Technically, she already had it.
No,
with Atlas.
it's 3 turns, isn't it? I'm not
I
crazy,
thought it was
right?
one turn.
Yeah. All of her attack buffs are 3 turns.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
Yeah,
well, there
I
you
mean,
go.
her third skill would be kind of annoying if it was only 1 turn, because it's targetable guts on a 7-turn cooldown.
Yes, 50% attack up for 3 turns. If she targets herself, and now she can double cast all her skills, because it was 7 turns before, now it's 6. And thanks to the cooldown reduction, she literally gets 160% attack up. If they had buffed her NP, I would have my Tonalico.
Your Tonalico can PG now. Well, not yours.
Not mine.
Not yours.
Laugh at him.
She will eventually, once I get those coins refunded, I can do it. I'll do it.
Do it.
You can't stop me forever.
Yeah. There you
I'll
go.
get you.
I am the Senate.
I was going for more of like a Green Goblin. I don't know anything about Star Wars. I watched the original 3 Star Wars movie. I
Palpatine
remember as a
Goblin.
child going to see the first prequel and falling asleep in the theater. And then I watched the first of the new Star Wars and I'm like, this is boring. And I never saw anything afterwards. So that's my experience with Star Wars. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. So, let's talk about the last. Oh, actually, just gonna point out both of the Melusines are also fairy tale. Apparently.
Not
Yes.
children.
But not children.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they need charge, anyways.
I guess you're right. Yeah, they don't.
But they're not children, which is the great part.
Whatever it takes to tell yourself to sleep and.
Anyway, let's
I
look
don't
at the
know.
dumpster
I phrased
fire.
that really fucking terribly. Whatever
Yeah.
it takes to tell yourself to sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're holding up real great there.
Yeah. So yeah, the last one is Merlin Lamau. They actually buffed him. Some
Lamau
people,
Merlin.
yeah, some people were really wanting the buff because I don't know, like the people that were talking about him falling off, like I feel like they themselves kind of fell off and weren't
Also,
as vocal. But
Here's the other thing, like people talking about like him falling off is like I don't think the buff necessarily got what they wanted, because like I hear a lot of them, they want him to be like a Buster big waver, with 50 chargers for some fucking reason.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we don't
but
have Oberon,
instead, what they
if
gave him,
this had been...
guys.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, hold on. So, so they buffed his illusion skill, which was arguably his strongest skill, at least when he first came out, because like AoE invuln, holy shit. But it used to be 1 turn of Stargent of 50%, 1 turn of invuln, 3 turns of 20% crit rate down on a 7-turn cooldown. They changed like 4 things. Now it's on a 6-turn cooldown.
wow.
It has 3 turns of Stargent, which I feel like that's kind of underrated. I don't think anyone else has mentioned that from what I've seen. 50% crit for 3 turns, that's a new effect. Team 10% charge, and then the same crit rate down. So now he is a team 30% charger.
Which does not really... Like, if they had added 30% charge to this and made him a 50% charger, then it would have been like all pandemonium, all breaks loose, and the world ends or something like that. But I honestly, for most people, I don't, and most comps even, I don't think this is super impactful. Because you still have, so for Merlin, his thing mainly was to come in on the final wave, and do his buff thing for crit buff, and then you swap him out for Oberon because you don't want him on the field at the same time, right? That was a big use for Merlin.
I mean, okay,
but like now, like you can still do that, and you get an extra 50% crit, or you sacrifice, but now like you can bring him in early and sacrifice the 100% crit up and just have the 50% carryover, and maybe you don't need the crit at the end. But like, I don't know, I just don't see it as like, there's not a lot of teams that I'm like, that I feel like it makes a difference on.
So anyways,
it's a
that's
nice buff, but I don't think it
so,
changes his use case.
So
is it my turn?
yes, it is your turn. And enough of this negative Nancy over here.
Okay, so I think that is like you're underrating this by a lot, right? Like I understand the context you're saying this in is like for TAs and stuff, but like even for TAs, the fact that he can now give like 150 obviously raises cap, raises max damage cap. At the baseline, that's what it does. But like at the same time, there's many cases where like Merlin, you really want Merlin to push damage. The attack up plus the buster up, especially in non-duplicate comps, like if you're not doing like double Koyan Light. Like for example, with Koyan Dark, I think like I would really like to lead Merlin plus Van Gogh plus Koyan Dark. That's a great lead, right? Just for like a bunch of fucking crit damage, and like I can follow it up because like another thing with like crit ramp up, especially if you're bringing like a support that can use their MP to buff your crits, like Van Gogh. I guess I'm using Van Gogh, which is also not a very universally applicable example, but like for Van Gogh, I'm gonna hit cap later on, but I'm not gonna hit cap on 1. You know what I mean? But like now with Merlin, I can be on cap on 1 and 2 and 3 and so on, right? So like,
yeah, but how often is crit cap needed on turn 1?
Sometimes for TAs. I mean, you don't know about TAs. Like having more damage is never bad for TAs. But
yeah,
like,
I'm just like, I just don't think that it. I don't think it makes him like
for example,
you might use him instead of someone else, but I don't think he's like objectively replacing anyone.
Okay,
it's more like it's an option now.
So for example, right? Remember that like Brittle Mart TA where like the 2-turn is basically impossible. I think like with this buff, there's gonna be like fucking 20 more buster units that can 2-turn that shit, for example, right? Like it's just how it works. It's just how it works with like.
You think the extra 50% crit makes that much of a difference in that type of fight?
Yes, because if you double it up, it's 100% more crits. Like yes, like obviously I'm not saying this is like 2-turning Brittle Mart is gonna be like a super relevant thing.
I mean,
I'm just making an example of like
if you really are pushing damage and you're running double Merlin, yes, like you could do
50's not
300
small, dude. 50's a lot. 50 crit up.
Oh,
is
I know,
a
but
lot.
like if you're running double run, that is pushing 300% crit on right off the bat. So,
yeah,
like, I mean, like I get like if you were doing double run like and you really needed crit on turn one.
yeah.
But,
I mean, yeah, that's a niche situation, but like I'm still not even out of the TA talk yet, right? Like in terms of TAs, like the ability to push that much more damage, that much more early, and still have residuals afterwards is really valuable in my opinion. Because like TA, sometimes the high HP gate is on 1. Like sometimes the biggest special damage res is on 1. I bet I could probably fucking min turn the Shining Star if this buff happened a bit earlier. You know, with Koyan Dark, for example, right? I don't know. It's just like there's a lot of stuff where you're just like, man, if I just had that little bit of extra damage, I'd be able to push for TAs, and then this allows that. And then on top of that, in terms of normal use, you know, star drop rate up with Buster MPs that are like high hit count is super good. It's like it's an alternative source of stars other than star bombs and like Merlin's MP, for example, right? And then like 50% crit up for the party is just good, especially it's like it's good uptime, you know, it's good uptime. You don't lose your crit up because like sometimes people are like, I would rather use Summer Scotty for my Buster crit because like it's less because you're missing out on 50% Buster up, but it's more because you got more
you
crit
lose
up.
35% Buster up.
Well, yeah, but
so
like
the difference then comes down to the calculation of what is more valuable, the 100% crit for over 3 turns for the losing
Buster
35%,
crit, by the way.
losing 35% Buster damage, or having 50% crit damage guaranteed and having 35% more Buster.
Like,
so
also once again, this isn't Buster crit, by the way. Like, if you look at Summer Scotty, it's Buster crit. You look at Koyan Light, it's Buster crit. Like it's general. Like I'm not like yeah, your damage is gonna be hyper focused on your Buster, but like what if I need to push damage with like a Mighty Chain? Like this would be a lot more than like just the Buster. Like this could potentially be more than 100% Buster crit up sometimes, right? So like
you were like dooming on in Discord last night.
Okay,
so.
I was pissed because I didn't think he needed it, but like the more I look at it, like if we don't think about whose spot he took, like just in a vacuum, I think this is a really good buff. And also like I'm glad it's not a farming buff because farming fucking sucks in this game.
I do, and I don't want people to think I think it's a bad buff. I think it's a good buff.
Oh yeah.
I just don't think that it is going.
He becomes a must roll.
I don't think it impacts him. Like you have a lot of other options. Yes, and some high-end things.
So,
once again, the unique situations that you may find yourself in where he does end up being the solution to the problem are going to be far and few between. It doesn't mean I don't think it's going to be as common as you're like putting it through.
I'm not saying he's gonna appear in every comp because like he doesn't help in farming, but like this is so much crits, and like on top of that, right? I think the star gen is whatever. The 10% charge is also kind of small, but the 10% charge allows you to like use his MP faster. With like,
let me cut you off because I think you guys are talking in circles. So speaking of him not being useful in farming, here's something he's able to do now. So I was showing this off like last night. Like I guess this morning actually, but there you can actually sort of front load some more damage in a Buster comp now, because like you can do the same 50% here, and then the great thing about this is you're starting off with like a lot more damage on wave 1. It doesn't really, it might not be all that important, and like it does, depending on who it is, you're probably gonna need the 5th append for it. But
yeah, I mean, Xnaya did it with
did I just roll Merlin?
Morgan?
Nah, I've had Merlin for a really long time. I just don't use him. Wait, Xnaya did it with what?
They did it with Morgan. So it's like this because that's what I saw. I apologize. I don't.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know how like common this was, but like kind of the way I see this, if you're gonna be using him in a comp like this, it feels kind of like using a 3rd Scotty instead of an Oberon. because you're front loading damage more. You're getting better damage on waves 1 and 2, but less on wave 3. So I kind of like that. This isn't really a good representation of the types of damage you're going to be seeing, because this is NP5. This is like hyper Ibuki here.
Okay.
I mean, I think if people always go, oh yeah, but you're showing these numbers that you're 120 MP5s. It's like, yeah, but like the scale of the numbers is going to be the same for everything. So like, if you're only dealing with level 90s, the scale will be the same. Like,
yeah, but most people
the increase will be the same.
The thing is, most people don't 120 servants. So like, if they have like a level 90 Ibuki that's only NP1, and they want to see what she's able to do, they're probably not going to care as much about what she can do at 120, because they're probably not going to be trying to 120.
Actually, though, once the coin change comes into effect, as long as she's NP2, you can easily justify 120.
But still, the vast majority of people, even people who have Ibuki, are not going to be 120ing her. Like, I mean, if you have her NP5, you're probably going to be 120ing her, but if you have her NP5, it's different. Like, that's why I like doing numbers at NP1, because I'd say like the sort of like normal average, like NP1 or NP2, I feel like that's just more generally applicable.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, I know I'm like maybe talking circles, but I think like another thing with Merlin as to why I think he's good is because like, yes, there's a lot of things that other people can do, but I think he has officially reached a number where like he has like so many buffs in one servant slot. Like his numbers are very good for just a singular servant. It's the attack up, it's the buster up, it's the crit up, all combined together. That makes him like, it's like roll compression almost, and I don't know. I think this is very valuable, and I think we'll definitely see some stuff. But yeah, anyways.
So I guess I should put out some other sides to this as well. I think. Well, yeah, I think this is a pretty insane buff for like just what he was already doing. I do like that he synergizes a bit more with the Buster playstyle now, because like the stall playstyle people usually ran him with, it wasn't more like passive damage. It was like you have these burst turns every now and then, but that's it. Like, but this is nice because a lot of Buster likes to do like a bunch of 3-turn long crit duration type stuff. So he really benefits teams like that. And I'd say that there's actually some pretty good justification for using him over Korean in some situations, because like you can also use 2 separate DPSs, and I think he can support 2 DPSs well enough.
Because the crit up is also party wide. Yeah, I did forget it.
The team wide crit buff is just really nice. And yeah, also something some people in my server have been saying, and like they also said in my chat, he synergizes even better with quick servants now than he used to, because now he's got more just general crit, and like he also helps them a little bit with gain because of more charge, and then he's got like he's got the sergeant up and stuff.
I don't know. I think you're better off just still with triple Scotty.
Probably, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay, but remember what everyone fucking hates about Quick. Everyone hates that we don't have a Quick Merlin. And if this Merlin becomes a little more acclimated to supporting Quick, that is pretty nice.
I mean, my take about that has always been they're lying to themselves. Like
you don't want a quick Merlin.
You don't want a quick Merlin, dude. Like you just want a quick Castoria. Like shut up. Look, so, like no offense, but like my take has always been these people are like fucking lying to themselves. Like, oh my god, if there's a quick healer, I would definitely use her. You won't. You won't.
Look, here's the thing. The thing people want is they want more support options for Quick. And like, if he can sort of LARP as a quick support more often, that's fine by me. I know a lot of people have this thing in their brain where they think that if you don't have a quick buff, you're not actually like supporting
support.
quick or anything, I think that's dumb because like in that case like uh, there's servants that really do synergize very well with card types that they don't give buffs to. Like a good example is Jufu. Like Jufu is really good for quick servants because she makes a bunch of stars. She helps with MP gain, and then there's the battery. And she's got crit buff. It's just she doesn't have like dedicated quick buffs, and that's the thing.
That's like saying Castoria is good for quick though. Like
She is.
I don't.
Well,
Yeah, but like
Castor-
Jufu is.
Well, actually, I want to ask you this: do you think Castoria is better for quick servants or for buster servants?
It depends. If I'm in a challenge quest, I will definitely use a Castoria on a buster servant to make those arts cards fully refund after.
Okay,
one hit.
but are they going to get more out of it than a quick servant would get out of a Castoria?
I think I think at that point it depends on what's fucking servant. Like
it depends
you
on the
have
servant.
like
Some
you
quick
have
servants
people like
don't need that MP gain.
You have people like Morgan, who's like, okay.
You also have to remember, like, if you're talking about looping, Castoria is like 20 or 30% MP generation versus just another Scotty's 50% quick, which increases the MP generation.
I'm not talking about. I'm not comparing that to Scotty. I'm comparing it to the effect
like,
on a
you're
buster
talking about
team.
your third support.
I'm just
like,
talking about in general.
I think at that point it depends on the unit. Like for example, I've definitely have like really good experiences with like Andromeda and Alice with Castoria, because they have 2 arts cards and they also have like, you know, like Andromeda's taunt with Castoria's skill 3 is good. It's a good combo, right? But like they're also quick units like fucking what is it, like I don't know, Hu Yen Jewel, probably don't care, like or like even characters like Britomart, I'm not sure if she really cares about having like a Castoria compared to you know, maybe like at the same time there's some buster units that really like Castoria. I mean everyone likes Castoria, but like they're it's not equal. Like I think like for example like characters like maybe Cuckoo, I don't think she necessarily likes Castoria that much.
There's nothing that Cuckoo benefits from Castoria.
Like she doesn't necessarily like Castoria that much, for example. And then you have like, you know, like Morgan is a unfair example because I feel like their kit is intentionally built together. But then you know,
so
like, it depends on the unit in my opinion.
So for me, I think Castoria benefits Quick better just generally because Quick likes.
Quick and refund.
Quick likes to be able to use their NPs pretty often, and like oftentimes Quick servants have really solid like arts cards or quick cards, and she's able to help take advantage of that. And also she's able to bridge the gap with battery.
Servants also have really solid arts cards a lot of the time.
Yeah, but you aren't as incentivized to like mix up your cards with Buster. You usually want to just like go with your Buster cards because all your stars are going to
not
Buster
anymore
cards.
with
not anymore.
I mean, he doesn't. It's not like he's. It's not like he's making a shit ton of stars. Okay, like it's nice that he has 5 turns of stars, but it's like, okay, actually, I guess to be fair, he does have the star gen.
Star gen boost. Yeah, like I mean, funnily enough, I agree with what you're saying because like before Merlin, that's what I mean by like skill 2 being generic crit buff is important. Because like before Merlin, all of the Buster crit ups are Buster crits. Like you get Koyan and you have Summer Scotty. They're all Buster crit ups. They're not crit ups. So like you really don't want to fucking use other cards. But Merlin is like a more like you said, exactly like you said. You know, it's a more median option that isn't hyper focused on just buffing one card.
Yeah,
so
I
like
that a lot about it.
Yeah. Like right now, Merlin now when paired with like a Buster unit, I used to think like that was my criticism. I think like. Back in the day, Merlin, Buster, DPS, Castoria fucking sucks. Like why would you use that over just arts? But now I think it doesn't suck that much. Like I think it's actually pretty legit. Like Castoria, Merlin, Buster, DPS. I don't think that is necessarily like
that'll stall anything out though.
I don't
just made a stall team again.
No, but like
congrats, we've evolved back to stall team, but now with a little more damage.
A little bit damage goes a long way. You know, like I think it's, and also I mean I don't know, you get more charge. Like I just feel like
Merlin, Morgan, Castoria. Welcome back.
I'm not talking about Morgan. Morgan's fucking stupid. Okay, like in terms of like her synergy with Castoria.
Morgan fans, you gonna let him say that?
Oh,
No.
fucking okay. No, all I'm saying is like Morgan. Morgan is a stupid example because Morgan like very clearly synergizes with Castoria. Like
Fine,
Morgan
totally
very
go Merlin. Get
like
the-
you know it's just clearly like Morgan clearly just like she's supposed to work with Castoria, like kind of, you know, like it's just her kit is too like she's too like skewed of an example to make here because Morgan is very clearly like an outlier compared to other Buster DPS. But like I think like in general like I can definitely see like Koyan, Castoria Merlin, Koyan Dark. But like at that point I'll probably run Koyan Dark Van Gogh Merlin. That feels like a really good comp. Like back in the day I'll probably not run Merlin. Right now I'll probably run Merlin over Castoria just to be a little bit more offensive. I don't know. I just think like this Merlin buff is I like it so much because like you said, Otto, it doesn't play into the art stall like gameplay style at all. I want Merlin to have more of an identity in the side where he's like a crit buffer.
Hold on.
It did
hold on.
lower the
Chat
cooldown
member,
by one. So
Chat member, you spelled Himiko wrong in a funny way, and you just self-reported as a MiHoYo fan.
Oh, is that a MiHoYo character?
Himeko, I think.
Yeah.
I want to say that's a MiHoYo character. I don't
That
know.
has to be like
I don't know
a
who it
fucking
is.
Blue Archive character, right?
It'd be funny if it's like a fucking Blue Archive
it's
character.
a Star Rail character. They're all well. They also have red hair. They're red hair. So it's Buster, I guess. I don't know. They're confusing things.
Yeah, but self-reported. Laugh at him. He's a
At
fucking
one point, laugh at the
MiHoYo
MiHoYo
fan.
fan. What a beta.
but yeah, I mean, I think this Merlin buff is like I think if he ever were to get a buff, this would be what like closer to what I really wanted because like I
think it's fine. I don't, you know, I don't know if I'm being too much the devil's advocate here. I don't think it's, I think it's impactful, but I just don't think it's. I think you're being too excited about it. I think you're thinking it's going to do more than it'll end up doing.
Like, because whenever I'm doing like Buster TAs, like I'm just fucking missing damage, and like I want to include Merlin, but like his damage, like his damage boost falls off after that one turn when I need the big damage, so you can't afford to run him. Because like yes, he helps me push over the biggest like damage cap like obstacle, but after that, because his like crit buff is just gone, I can't like I can't afford to run him. But now I can, so I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of potential. I can play around with him. But I still disagree with him getting the buff though. Like as a whole, I think it's stupid. Yeah. He didn't fucking need it. But
it definitely is stupid because
we should have buffed Tamamo. Should have given.
This is the second time. This is the second time he's getting.
Also, yeah, true.
Fucking,
who said Himeko again? Hold on. Let me look at it. Who said Himeko? Is this comment like Himiko feels a little bit worse now because of this?
Yep.
I feel like Himiko. I mean, you know, other than level 1 Himiko, she does feel a little bit worse after this. I in my opinion, like
if a servant likes overcharge, Himiko will still be a better choice.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, she's an overcharge giver, but like it's sort of like puts her back in her lane. Is that too mean to say? Like it's just like, yeah, get in your lane. You're an overcharge booster, and that's it, right? Like I just feel like, you know.
Is Merlin now better than Summer Scotty for Buster crit? I think Merlin's better for general crit right now. If that makes sense.
I mean,
like,
Summer Scotty still has 15 stars per turn. Like sometimes your fucking Buster servant just doesn't make stars.
Yeah, but
I think
like
that
you
if
also
you
have
need-
Sargent with Merlin now.
I think
But
that
it's
if you
not
need
guaranteed.
higher crit generally overall, so like Merlin, if you have one like a really early bursty turn and then you need a kind of general sustained, I think that's fine.
Yeah,
But I think if you need a higher level of crit the whole way through, I think Summer Scotty still is gonna supply that better.
Well,
Here,
that also depends.
For Buster cards.
That's also part of the thing. Like, if you're like only using Buster cards, if you're resetting for hands and getting Buster cards really often, then yeah, she's probably gonna pull ahead. But I don't know. Even then, like now
Here's my problem with
like,
that though.
turns after his third skill, like after the crit buff from the third skill runs out, it's just Korean Sky is Buster crits, but better slightly.
Here's my problem with that though. Another problem, at least that's what I found out by doing damage stacking and max damage challenges. I'm saying this is obviously also not applicable everywhere, but crit ups are very easy to get compared to card type ups. Like your crit up percentage boost are usually always higher than your buster ups. It's very difficult to get to 500% buster up, for example, because like both they cap at 500% for both. It's super difficult to get to 500% buster up, but it's actually not unreasonable to get to 500% crit up, even before Merlin. Granted, a lot of that is based on specific traits like Dolman or existence outside domain with Van Gogh, but crits are generally easier to get. Now, this might sound like I'm arguing against Merlin, because if crits are easier to get, then why the fuck are you bringing a 150% crit booster? But Merlin still has the attack up and the 50% buster up. If you bring someone like Scotty, yes, you still have, 15% buster up, but like, I don't know, is like sometimes you do need that 35% extra buster up. Like it's worth more. Like in my opinion, like in like optimal comps where you're doing like TAs or like maximum damage, whatever, you're throwing like as much things as possible onto your DPS. I think card type buffs are generally a little bit harder to get than crit buffs. But yeah, I don't know. But it is max damage challenge, because like why I said that is because I remember there's a comp that specifically the best CE to run is limited 0 over. The best CE to run for that like max crit comp is limited 0 over, because the only stat you're not capping out at is the buster up. So I don't know. But I mean that's also not like a super always applicable thing to say, but I just feel like I'd rather take a middle ground like Merlin than
Okay.
Summer Scotty if I want to do buster. Anyways, sorry.
So there's I think it's kind of funny that this buff basically just put 80% of Bart's kit into one of Merlin's skills, because now it's 3 turns of 50% team crit up. It's 10% charge for the team, and then like he's got his first skill, which could like between first skill and third skill, it could be more NP damage boosting than Voyager of the Storm, and then like Sergeant for 3. Yeah, it's pretty similar, I'd say, and like he's getting costume. I hope he gets a buff too, because like he's still not that great as a support. He's like okay. He's just like a downgrade of Matahari generally, but who knows? Maybe they're gonna buff him.
I think I guess we'll just have to see. Like maybe
Time will
like,
tell who is correct on this opinion, whether it is
no, dude, they're just gonna buff Percival. Who am I
or
kidding?
whether it is super impact. Because, that's
So okay, can you allow me to go a little bit schizo on this, or like are you out of time?
Let me. I'll answer something in chat first.
Okay,
yes, they do. They actually do buffs on Summer sometimes. Like they did that. That's when Sigurd got his NP upgrade. For example, what was last year? I guess it just doesn't happen very much because I can't remember something else from the top of my head, but they have done it. Okay, Schizo post.
Okay, so like one thing that I've been complaining about like all the is like you know the meme Cuckoo versus Korean Dark. So obviously most people are talking about the farming aspect, the looping aspect, which they're not very comparable, but there's one thing that they're doing that's very similar, which is as min turning as a buster crit DPS. And Korean Dark used to have the edge because of Van Gogh. Van Gogh gives her existence outside the domain and gives her gives her easy accessible crit steroids. So her damage is actually able to pull ahead of Cuckoo very quickly because of that. Well, we just keep getting crit ups. Like we got a Pend 4, we got haven't gotten class score yet. It's just gonna get worse after we get class score. Now we have Merlin. So like right now, if you're doing like a Koyan comp with Van Gogh, if you swap Koyan for Cuckoo and you swap Van Gogh for Merlin, that's like the same damage. Like that's literally like the same fucking damage. So like it's completely over in terms of like TAs.
Are you sure? Because like an MP5 Van Gogh, for instance, gives Cuckoo 200% crit for 3 turns, like 200% sustained for 3 turns, whereas Merlin's going to give 50% for 2 turns and 150 for 1.
Well, yeah, but
sure
like
it's the same.
it's not the same, obviously, but like you also have to consider the fact that Cuckoo has way better other steroids in her own kit, right? Like especially with a Pen 5, she can get the 100% attack up, you know, in on turn 1 if she wanted to. She also has like other Buster crit stuff on her skill 3, right? So like she has way better other steroids from herself, and then like Koyan has a clear lack of that in her own kit, and then like you know there's just it's just Van Gogh's already kind of overkill sometimes with Koyan. There's just so many crit ups. Like you would rather take a Buster up. Like I have to like actively cut out either Van Gogh or a Domon from my comp because she's hitting crit cap, but she's not having any Buster ups. Like she got no fucking Buster ups or attack ups. She's just getting attack ups from Van Gogh too, but like she's only getting crit
Van Gogh
cap.
has a lot of attack ups. But...
Yeah, she's only hitting crit cap. So like I don't know. I just feel
I
like
could definitely see replacing Domon with Merlin in that situation.
Yeah,
I think I don't think you'd replace Van Gogh.
I guess that's fair, but it's just I just feel like the gap is like short, like the gap in terms of how many crit ups Cuckoo
and maybe
can get.
Maybe it's because the servants you use a lot benefit more for like the servants I use a lot don't really find themselves in these situations, and so from my experience, it's like different. So it's like based on who I'm using, I'm not seeing like these type of situations, but yours are different.
Yeah, I guess because like one of the strongest parts about Koyan Dark is not even her MP. It's just her fucking Buster card damage, and Merlin at the same time is able to help her because now I can push her Buster card damage like in a lot of stuff. Like I just try to. I haven't done it yet. I'm probably gonna do it after I upload the video, but like. I'm trying like a DB comp where I just like kill 1 bar with 1 Buster with like double Merlin, and so far it's working. Like I'm only missing the kill on the final bar because I ran out of crits. But like it's a lot of crits you're pushing, and you're still not missing like you miss 200% crit up, which sounds like a lot, but like at the same time you might be able to get other crits from other sources after the initial like big surge of crits run out, right? So I don't know. You can stagger him as well.
It does benefit Buster more than others though, because like for class score, for example, like remember Quick gets 60% extra crit from class score and Arts gets 40, or Buster only gets 20. Yeah. So it's still
I mean it's a Merlin.
It's Merlin, so it still benefits Buster.
Merlin.
Class score is weird with the crit damage. You know, it's probably for the best that class score didn't do a flat 50 crit across the board, but you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's only fair if there's no cap, but like most people are not hitting cap. Like we're only hitting cap because we're doing like fucking degen. I'm not gonna even call it degen. It's just like we're doing like TA maximizing whatever. But I don't know. It's just I just think this Merlin is like there's so much in one character. So like I can afford to cut out some other characters just to run Merlin. Like he's almost like a 1.5 in 1. And you know,
you only have to cut out one character to run Merlin.
No. But I don't know. I just think great buff. And also I found out that if you double Merlin, it's actually quite easy to get his MP now with the spread 30 because it's now spread 60. So
and as a pend, but like you're still 20% off. What do you do? The last 20.
Fuck. Never mind. I'm stupid because
then you can use Koyan Dark's first skill.
Yeah. Because I'm using Koyan Dark.
Yeah, you know what? As long as the enemy can't charge NP, you know, you can just invuln every NP, you know, and just like stall out that way. Why don't you?
Yeah. I guess they heard that you said that double Merlin wasn't that impressive, and they took it personally because now.
Yeah, this is your fault.
No, this is your fault. Who are you kidding?
Wait, no, I've never look.
Yes, you did. Yes, I
I've
remember.
never-
I clearly remember a time when you said that double Merlin wasn't that
I
impressive.
may have recently said that double Merlin,
Don't
the
think-
second
I
they
also-
run into
no,
an
I
enemy
mean,
that has more than a
be
4
fair,
tick NP.
I
cannot
also
Yeah,
don't like
but
that
you see,
again.
that's
I
part
also
of the
don't like that
stupid thing right now. He has a 6-turn cooldown, so you can just alternate between them constantly at 50% crit up,
this is
and
the point.
then every
Yeah,
3
you have
turns
per-
you invul. Like, it's really
Yeah.
dumb.
Ooh, I'm
And
so
you
angry
can
now.
stagger him. Damn, fucking Constantine. I'm joking.
Man.
Remember when we were talking about the Constantine Merlin Buster DPS?
Constantine check.
Uh-oh,
How's Constantine doing this week?
Yeah, there it
Constantine
is.
check, Constantine.
Yeah,
There
it
it
helps
is.
him,
There's the
actually.
Constantine check. Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure.
You know, we
I-
should bring back Muramasa check.
Oh my god.
Muramasa's dead in the ground. Holy cow.
Well,
Muramasa check?
sucks.
Let me check how Muramasa's doing this week. Oh, he loops worse than Hokusai now? Okay, yeah, there you go. Good,
Damn.
Oh, there you go. Good Muramasa check.
Damn.
There, thank you.
Damn, really doing that to him, huh?
It's so bad.
That's rough.
The only positive Muramasa check this week is, fucking Fate Stay Night remake or something. I don't know. Emiya Shiro. Oh no, you get another
Okay.
Rin. Have fun. And then,
Okay, but question.
Yeah, we got another Rin.
The question is
Answer.
the other how the fuck do I even say? I'm not enough of a lore guru. Ruler Moriarty, is he a better looper than Muramasa though now?
I mean, in terms of
Probably.
damage, yeah, but refund probably not. I mean, it just depends on what you need.
Yeah.
But in terms
Hustle,
of damage,
yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure in terms of damage, he's pretty fucking up there.
Okay. Well, good talk.
Good talk. Good talk.
Good
Good
talk,
game,
good
guys.
talk,
Good game.
talk,
Good game.
talk, good game. Good game. Good game.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Merlin, we'll see. That's the catchphrase. Merlin, I guess we'll see.
Merlin, I guess we'll see.
I guess
That's the
we'll see.
tagline for the episode. Merlin, I
Yeah,
guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see soon. But yeah.
We shall soon see.
Oh, hold on. I'm not done schizoing. What the fuck am I doing?
Gosh.
Oh.
So here's the thing. After all of my praise about Merlin, why the fuck is it Merlin?
Yeah, because it's something about Tamamo.
Okay, here's the thing about Tamamo, right? The only reason it's not Tamamo, let's hear it. Whose fault is it? We all know the answer. Jeopardy. Top answer all the time on
Merlin.
Family Feud. Family Feud. It's
Merlin?
just one fucking It's always one character's fault that Tamo's not getting
Castoria?
it.
Merlin.
It's Castoria. Do you know why? Because Castoria would have buffed up Tamamo would be the scariest shit in the game. But
Well, hold on, they're just
I
waiting for
still think
extra
it's
record before
Merlin's
they
fault
buff her.
because, like, if Merlin didn't get the buff, she might have.
Look, they're
True,
gonna
you are
they're
correct.
gonna buff her when extra record comes out, and then she'll be better.
yeah, that's next year.
Look, here's the buff that they're gonna do. They're gonna make it so that her second skill spreads 30 and cools down everyone's skills by 1.
That is so scary with Castoria. That's genuinely unkillable with Castoria, bro. Like, even with buff removal, you can just get all your skills back in a turn. That's genuinely fucking unstoppable with Castoria.
They'll buff Nero again. You're right.
Oh my god. I mean, the problem really is Castoria, right? Because, like, Tamamo is like, Castoria's biggest weakness is buff removal, right? Like, obviously you can just bring buff removal resist as a hard solution, but the soft solution is, what if all of my skills are actually like 3-turn cooldown, and I just get it, and I can heal, I get everything back within 2 turns, I regroup, and then they can't, like, unless they can spam buff removal, I'm probably golden. So, like, it's just very scary. It's a very scary thought that Tamamo, but it's just like, she's a secondary to Castoria, and then because the primary is too broken, they cannot buff the secondary. And I think that's really stupid, Like, I just think, like, that's a very stupid logic, but anyways.
Yeah. It's also just, like, the nature of how she's designed. Like, if they buff her, they need to give her an NP upgrade. And, like, I know they already buffed
Already
her
upgraded
NP.
her MP.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
they still can buff
They can
her
buff her
MP.
skill too. I
But
don't know.
They can
but
buff
the
her
thing
skill
is,
too.
if you buff any of her skills, it's really dangerous because at that
Yeah,
point it's any effect you give her is less than a 5-turn cooldown.
yeah. I bet it's so dangerous. You know, cooldown reduction is such a dangerous
Yeah, I
effect. We
know,
have to
but
balance around that
I
that we
I
just
I I
nonchalantly give it
okay,
to
okay,
everything
look,
We
and
just
look,
gave
everyone
it
in
to
the
look.
game.
everyone.
Plushie. It's I won't
I know
deny
it's
that
refreshable.
a pinned is a lot, but like if like when we're talking about situations that benefit Tamamo a lot, it's like long-term fights. And that's when that append is going to not see as much value. But if
And,
you
and
give
and
her
the
some
game
sort of
doesn't care about
upgrade,
long.
if you give her some sort of upgrade on one of her skills, she's just going to like snowball her shit harder generally.
Like,
Like it
I'm gonna be real. I would rather people just use this stupid buff Tamamo Castora team and steamroll every boss fight than people trying to take 50 years and do the solemn spam and pretend that Timiko is actually good.
True.
that's
I hate
there's a
solemn
lot to
spam.
unpack there.
We're up for the Merlin spam team where you just like invuln every MP.
You might as well kill stall because like right now it's like a very slow progressing like grind fest.
It still is stall. It's just
Well, yeah,
stall
it's
of a
stall, but
different
it's like
flavor.
it's like 10 times faster. You know,
It's like
it's
it's
like
like
buying the fast
vanilla
pass at
pecan
Disneyland.
instead of
Yeah,
cookies
some
and
of those don't
cream.
really do much, and they're kind of a rip off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like it's you can't like if you keep using this logic of like let's just not buff art supports because Castoria is stupid.
Yeah, but like I'm not saying it specifically
Oh,
because of Castoria.
I mean,
You're the one
I
saying
get
that,
it.
honestly.
Okay, I mean, I get your point because I
It's
remember
it's
making
just
the
like
same
how
point with like.
it's just how she's designed it. Like even if you're not using her with Castoria, like there's motherfuckers out here saying like give her like 80% self charge or some shit like that. That's so fucking ridiculous. Like
It's just
that
MPs
is
every
like
time.
yeah, okay, let's give her an 80% battery on a 4-turn cooldown. This won't go wrong at all.
I mean, but like, what's the worst that could happen?
We could get another broken arts support that everyone is going to fucking
That
jerk off
everybody
forever.
Yeah, why
yeah,
not?
that everybody can. Everybody's already jerking off. Right? Anyways, that everybody can pick her from the ticket. Eh?
Yeah, and, like I'm not sure if I entirely like that. Like, I mean, I guess from a quality of life perspective, it's good. What the fuck? How did I? Oh,
What happened?
okay. I was doing a 3-turn with my Ushigos, and I was like, wait, how did she not refund enough in this setup that I do the exact same way every time? I missed one of her skills apparently.
Please don't. No, we already got the mandatory arts looper for summer. We got Eresh. Stop. Okay, she is the mandatory arts looper. We already got one. Can we just not have one, please? Unless, please. I'm begging you, God, make Ciel the most boring arts looper in the game. Ah,
Let's
God.
ruin CL. Okay,
ruin
what
Ciel
class
and
would
my,
be?
my
Okay,
life is yours.
Zeus.
if we want to make CL bad, we need to put her in the assassin class, but not give her insane buffs. So we're gonna put her in the sat. Yeah, let's put a CL in assassin class. Make her an arts servant, but only have like a 3-hit MP, no MP game buffs in her kit. Like clearly challenge quest only, like a bunch of like mitigation things and like mechanic fighting things, but nothing to help her NP game.
Look, here's the thing, right? Like, I'm hateful as like a half joke, but people legit think I reported to Lesengo to fix Hokusai's bug. Okay, I didn't.
It was just a visual bug anyway, as far as I was informed. That
really?
I was told it was just a visual bug that the defense didn't actually apply beforehand.
Huh? For real? Oh, then there you go. Nothing changed.
It was fun seeing the little blue shield next to it. Like I liked pretending she did more things than she actually does.
it's really fun because like if you look at the screenshot, it's she has so much debuffs on the opponent just from using her MP raw. It's pretty funny. There was a calculation on Reddit that defense buff applied before MP. Yikes! I mean, here's the thing of why I know it's a bug for sure. It's not even like, like people keep comparing it to Salter. No, it's not Salter. It's a bug because it doesn't apply to face cards. It doesn't do the defense down before face cards. They didn't actually change the skill 3. It's just, it's just
Yeah,
different.
what they probably have happened is the game was for some reason viewing. If it wasn't just a visual bug, like I was told, then what was probably happening is the arts down was registering as a completed hit, and then applying defense down, and then the other hits went.
Dude, do you know who actually needs that bug? Fucking Shu Tendoji. She needs all of her debuffs to apply as a hit. Like when she does like 20 debuffs, if all of them are register as a hit, that'd be pretty good. Anyways, sorry. Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought like I okay.
Yeah, I just didn't know what to say about that because like we've heard that a few times.
Yeah, I am not very creative.
I mean, it's not that you're not creative. It's just you have a lot of time to say the same ideas.
True. I mean, yeah, but overall, I think this year's buffs were great. Like they're like, at least in my opinion, they're like in 3 categories. We got the fixes, quote unquote fixes. We have like Cleopatra is a fix. Charlotte Corday is a fix. In my opinion, Billy the Kid's kind of a fix. I think red hair is kind of a fix. And then we have just enhancements on already okay units. Like, I mean, I guess Hokusai is not very okay for the buff.
Well, I mean, it fixed her.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Hokusai is a fix. Then we have like Moriarty. Oh, then we also fixed Nido Assassin, right? Like that was also clearly a fix, right? And then we have and then we have characters who does their job just the same but like better. I think like Merlin probably can categorize that, and we have like Moriarty Ruler, and then we have like Asclepius just doing his job but like even better. And then we have my favorite part, which is carving out a new niche for these characters. Jill the Ray Saber, Abigail Williams, and I think mostly those two, but then I guess Nursery Rhyme a little bit, and Iskandar a little bit. Like they got a new thing that you can do them with that you used to not be able to do them with, right? Especially I think Abigail and Jill the Ray. I think Jill the Ray is the most drastic example, and Abigail is the most applicable because people love farming, right? So I don't know. It's just super cool. I think this year's buffs are cool. It's really cool, but
I thought they were good.
Yeah.
No bad buff. No buff left behind.
Except for Charlotte.
Damn.
Nah, it fixed her. Kind of. It didn't do a ton for her, but it was okay.
See, the thing about it is it didn't really change it. Her issue was she had a pretty low ceiling, and her ceiling didn't really increase. They just made it so she doesn't
it
like.
gave her consistency.
It's like she's jumping in a box, and either the box has nothing in it, it has a small trampoline in it, or it has a slightly less small trampoline in it.
Do you know why that's so funny? Because that's literally one of Summer Charlotte's animations.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Still good. Anyway.
Yeah.
Wow.
I tell you what. Wow. After we end here, whenever that is, I want to raid Fino, and I want to ratio him with a raid. Because we have more viewers than him right now.
You have more viewers than him? Oh, for once.
Dude, you gotta do it before.
Yeah.
You gotta do it before.
We gotta end now then, before viewers leave.
I mean, we don't. Guys, we're not done yet. You don't have to leave yet. No.
No,
wait. Wait.
No. Wait.
Yeah, don't raid him yet. You guys should raid when I say we should raid. You got the people leaves going on.
Yeah, man, I love I mean, I don't know.
Damn. Dude, we
Sorry.
we talked about so much stuff today, and we didn't even get into the interview that they talked about. Although I feel like
Oh,
I don't know.
the
I'm gonna be honest.
Famitsu?
The
I mean,
Famitsu interview wasn't really that interesting to me, but like I don't
I
know.
mean, there's a lot of like lore stuff, you know, like how
Yeah, it's probably
why
why.
Bavanchi's a pretender was a fucking stupid ass reason. Is just she's pretending to be Morgan. What is this? Like every kid that pretends to be their parent is a fucking pretender? Like what do you mean? I guess so stupid. Anyways, and then we
Yeah,
have like
well, she
CL
sucks at
servant verse,
pretending apparently because if she was good at pretending, she'd be a berserker.
and then we have CL Summer. Let's go. Who is servant verse? Who's gonna become the joke character with human Neko arc in her animations? And then we have what else? What else did they say? They said a lot about Tonalico, I think.
Yeah,
Ew.
she was supposed to be a welfare originally.
Oh yeah, she was supposed to be a welfare. And Takeuchi's favorite ascension is Ryou's favorite ascension, second ascension. So good taste. Or I guess Takeuchi taste. I don't know if you think that's a good taste, but
I don't know, man. Is it a good thing to have like similar taste to Takeuchi? I feel like that's
I mean,
that's kind of a hit to your pride, you know?
I mean, if you like Takeuchi characters, I mean, this is his most prided ascension, and then you're using it, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't ratio him anymore. We are one viewer lower. It's
No.
over.
No, we're not. He's at 246. We're at 289.
They're
Well,
290.
it says 279 to 289.
It's
We're
so fucking-
I
operating
have
on
both
different
of your streams
wavelengths.
open. We're at 314 now, and he's at 246 now. Actually,
Oh my
Well,
god.
we're
Well,
still in
I
the
don't
lead
know
here,
how
guys.
I don't know how these numbers work, man, because they must
I have
be
full streams
updating really
open.
low. Really
Okay,
slowly.
what? That's a low roll. Trust. What else? What else they say in their interview? I don't remember much, honestly. It's
I don't
like
either.
it's like Eresh just became a beast just because. Like oh, we just wanted to make a beast, so we don't have to put her in GSSR. Like this is the real. Here's the real Famitsu interview as to why Eresh Kigal Summer is a beast. So we don't have to put her in GSSR. She will never be in GSSR. You better pull now. Pull now. Buy now. Right now.
Buy now. Buy now. Buy now.
Buy now. Buy now. Buy now.
Yeah, that's probably
They
Purchase
said
right
they
now.
wanna
Yeah,
make her
guys,
special
it's
because she's a long-awaited character.
yeah, guys. She's not tied to an event, so you can't vote for a rerun on her banner.
She's a long-awaited character, so we're gonna make whoever missed it this time wait even longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. FOMO.
Yeah. Okay,
Bye.
we went back up on viewers. Okay, we're good.
Bye.
Never mind.
We got purchase. She's tied to summer? Yeah, I bet she would be part of summer.
She'll probably
like,
be in the summer rerun next year. Let's be honest. It's just
they-
Arc that they hate.
Yes, it is like Tonalico, and like people were talking. No, not people. They Nasu said like he wanted to put her in Lost Belt 6 summer, but it's like too many fucking narratives already, and then they want her to be the main focus of an event.
Oh
So
no! So she's gonna be the main character of this event.
She might be the main. She probably is the main character of this event. They'll
Let's
probably explain
go.
why she looks like that. They're gonna rerun Space Eresh in the 30 million campaign. Trust it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust.
Trust in the
Okay.
process.
Trust in the process.
Alright,
yeah,
I just
cool.
got a crazy text message. I'm not going to unpack it on stream, but okay. Well, you know what?
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna call it here. We've been
All
up
right.
and active for almost 4 hours now. This has been
I've
like
been
the
active for longer than that.
dude, like this, like regardless of whether or not we can ratio Fino, which I implore you guys stay so we can ratio him because it would be funny. This is definitely the highest turnout we've had on a smobcast before. Like we had a good long couple hours with over 300 viewers. So thank you all so much for coming over here, stopping by live. Remember, guys, like every Sunday, 4 p.m. EST. You guys do the math. You probably don't live in EST, but I don't live in your place probably. So, yeah, thank you all guys for showing up, and it's a fun time. Bye bye.
Yep. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
Bye.